All right, I'm back. You there, Barra?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right. Sorry about that. So you were saying
Like, I was just wondering, what happened with the post?
what? I'm sorry, you cut out. What did you say?
Oh, I'm on my laptop, so I don't have my headset.
Oh no, I get it. I get it. But
But what do you do to pose that he's so mad?
oh, dude,
I mean, it can be
that's
that.
that's just it. Like I haven't done nothing to the guy. Like I'm honestly confused. Like I came on, after everything, right? I spent the night. Honestly, I ended up puking my guts out that night. Not gonna lie, I was that stressed, and I was that
I thought
drunk. Like, I was that drunk and that stressed. Not gonna lie, but yeah, I woke up, spent the day exercising, doing some shit, clearing my head, getting some retrospect, looking inward, and then I came back on that night, and I was like, okay, I'm not gonna, you know, exasperate things. I'm gonna go online and see what happens. So I got into the Discord. First things first, they hit me with, you got some explaining to do. Like, okay, yeah, I got some explaining to do. What about the other people? They got some explaining to do. The things that were happening to me. No, no, no. We just want to know, like, are you racist? Like, why would you say that? Da 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 da. And I'm like, oh, okay, look, yeah, yeah. I was totally drunk and I was angry.
Everybody's a little bit racist. I
No,
mean,
no,
that's
no,
the
no, no,
point.
no, 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 no. That's not
I,
true. I'm going to
I
tell you
mean,
right. I'm going to tell you right now. Everybody has a little bit of a fear of the unknown. Okay, racism, yes, is a prevalent issue that we are all dealing with currently. U.S. That
yeah.
is absolutely correct. But the fact of the matter is, though, like not everybody is racist. Okay, and
I mean, it all has to do with stereotypes.
you cut out.
I hear all that shit. I mean,
No,
I've
whoa,
been
whoa,
around
bro,
black
bro, bro.
people.
You said you cut out right at it. All starts with steri. What did you say? You literally cut out.
Stereotypes and like prejudiced people. It,
Okay.
it all has to do with that. I mean,
Oh yeah,
it's
yeah.
more
But you also have to
because people
admit you have
don't
you.
get to
Oh,
know each other. Like I'm Hispanic and
mm-hmm.
I've been around black people, white people, like Asian people, like
Yeah.
I mean all kinds of people. And I mean, people just misunderstand each other because they don't get to know each other, and that's the whole issue with
Oh
everything.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
You
Have
know
you
what I
have
mean?
you read my
Yeah.
philosophy in here, dude?
Oh no.
All right. Look, I'll just read it to you, and I'm going to sympathize with you on this. Like straight up, my philosophy is, there's too much hate in this world. The seven deadly sins are bringing us down. And if we learn to love and accept one another for who we are, this world will become a much better and greater place for us all. Agape
Yeah.
love now and forever. And
Yep.
agape love, what that means is, unconditional love for all humankind, right?
Yep.
Now, the other thing that you have to remember is like, not only do I believe this as my philosophy, like this is what I truly believe. I'm
Yeah.
also like practicing it. I'm trying to spread it, right? And when
Yeah.
I first came into this server, what I saw, what I observed, regardless of the screenshots and the things that were being shared on the internet, what I saw was a perpetuation and I'm it's sad to say this, but it's a perpetuation of like fascist tactics that I've seen for months now on this server by the same people perpetuated onto the people that they do not like
But,
to
but
get
no,
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 no, no, no.
you
I'm
can't
not
even get
finished. I'm
no
not.
people like serious or like
Bro,
they're
bro,
all
whoa, 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 whoa,
all
whoa, whoa, wait a second. You're saying to not take it seriously, but they're using fascist tactics. How can you not take that seriously when these same type of people are using fascist tactics today in everyday society in these riots that we're seeing in
yeah.
America, and these same
Yep.
people are going online in social media using these same type of tactics to vilify and to dehumanize not just any other person, but also the president of the United States, okay? Regardless of what you may think of him, but he is the president of the United States of America. At the end of the day, we should respect him for that and that alone. And like we don't
Yep.
have to respect the man, but we respect the position that
Yep.
he holds. You know? And
Yeah.
all this
I mean,
hashtag,
to
not
be
my
honest,
president,
I
but
don't really like Trump.
mm-hmm,
But then I did some digging into what
mm-hmm,
he's doing and what everything.
yeah,
I mean, and I get the guy. I mean, he's pretty straightforward and he
he's a
does the work
businessman.
he does.
Yeah,
Yeah, and I mean, I'm kind of okay with it. I mean, he's gonna have to deal with all the like people that don't like that kind of stuff.
Hmm.
But then again, that's everywhere. Like you never gonna agree
Absolutely,
with somebody,
absolutely, and
you know.
I agree with you
And that,
100% on that.
that's the main
Hmm.
problem with the whole fucking society. Like I mean, like I had issues with people before, and you got like like I confronted them, and they say something, and then
Well,
I'm like, okay,
like you and
like
I,
I was being
we had
ignorant
issues at
about
first. We
something.
talked it out, and now here we
Yeah,
are.
yeah, I was being ignorant about something I didn't know, and then I
Hmm.
was like, okay. Like I caught myself, and I was like, okay, well, explain yourself, and they told me like, oh, this is what you did, this is what I don't like, and this and that. I'm like, okay, all right, I see the point, so I try to understand it, and then I can move forward. But like, okay, now I know.
Yeah,
So
and
like,
you see
we ended up like,
in the
yeah,
today,
there's a good
and
side
you
to
see
it. Like
and
that's how
today,
we
like,
fucked up.
same thing happened. Like, I knew that you were a bit upset. Post is a bit upset. You came in, you explained to me, this is what's up, blah blah blah. I want to know this, and I was like, hey, I gave you the same respect you gave me when we first met in voice.
Right, right,
Yeah,
yeah. Yeah, I'm
that's how
slowly.
I
I
am.
mean, that's why I don't really try to. I mean,
Hmm.
sometimes like I'll start some shit just because I'm fucking bored, like whatever I did, like, and then I'm not really eating it. I'm just talking shit, like literally talking shit, just talk shit.
Like today, what you see me doing
Yeah,
currently.
right
Yeah,
now I'm like
yeah,
seeing something, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Let me get in here.
yeah.
I'm fucking bored, not So
Yeah,
yeah,
and
I can
all
do
my
that.
comments
But
to
then at
you.
the end, I will say like, oh, I'm just kidding. I don't
Yeah,
really
but
care.
at the end of the day, let me just say, all my comments to you in Nation Chat there was just, a dog was biting.
Yeah,
You came over, like, let me pet
I
the dog, let me get it on this, and I just bit over at you too,
yeah, I can take you serious until I tell you like, hey, I say what you mean, and it is what it is. Like if
Hmm.
call me this, whatever. Like that's what it is. Like if you be, if I say you're being serious, all right, let me know. Like tell me right now. But if I know
Oh,
that
I'm
you're
being
just
dead serious
bullshit, I'm
about
like,
these people, using fascist tactics to vilify and
yeah,
dehumanize people on this game. 100%. That is what's going on Arcade on the Jokin server. Is people are using fascist tactics to vilify and dehumanize people that they don't like, and to get socialist agendas that they want to cross. Which by what I mean by that is certain people get hero, other people do not. By a vetting system, they have their voting system completely rigged. They have alts doing it for them. You name it, dude.
yep,
They are
yeah,
beyond
there,
corrupt.
yep. I know. I mean, I heard there's gold buying.
Oh yeah, dude, there is a massive amount of gold buying on this game. Are you kidding me?
Yeah,
Like,
it's crazy. I don't. I
yeah.
mean, it kind of does kill the game in a way, but
Well, okay, look,
I'm just,
no. It doesn't entirely kill
I'm
the
just
game. It just
not
gives.
for me,
When you think about it,
right?
okay, some people are out there working their ass off, making gold to sell it to other people for cash. Okay, that's not. That's against the terms of service, sure. But at the same time, there's only a finite amount of gold that can be made at a certain amount of time by every single person in the game. They have a
Right.
concerted effort where they coordinated a bunch of people to do the same thing to make money. That's
Yep.
perfectly fine. That's a business strategy,
Well,
okay?
I
Yeah,
understand it. It's economics. I mean,
yeah.
if everybody was
And when you
just
think about it, right?
earning the gold and making their own shit
Yeah, yeah, and when you think
not
about it,
nobody
right,
will be buying
the way that this game is designed, it's an
it. So
MMO at the end of the day.
it's like
So who can
gold.
put in
Buying
more
gold is
time?
like credit if
Yeah,
you
well,
want to put it down.
exactly.
So
Whoever can put in more time into the game can be able to progress further than the other person who can't put that much time in the game. So how does the person who can't put that much time into the game compensate? By buying
yeah,
gold
right. Yep.
and utilizing their labor to upgrade their gear. You see what I'm saying?
Yep. And then that create makes other people keep making the stuff that other people don't have. So it kind of keeps the game. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
It keeps the game going.
Well, at the end of the day, like, yeah, it's not right. It's against the terms of service, but there's only a finite amount of it. There's only so much they can earn at a certain amount of time, and there isn't enough people buying it to where it makes that big of a difference.
Right.
But there is a lot of gold buying going on by the people who are buying it. That is true.
Yep. But yeah, this is how the game is. I mean, we're kind of getting off subject here, but
Well, I mean,
yeah,
it's
it's a lot
it's
of
all
problems.
topics about arcades. It's all topics about arcades. The discussions and arguments with people leading into this type of this is, but yeah, the topic really was like, I was trying to explain to Post my view on the matter of free speech,
You should
right?
just be like, hey, bro, like I was fucked up, and
Well, that's
like,
what I started with.
yeah, bro,
I'm
I
not
was
gonna
so
lie.
bad.
Like that's what I said. I
I mean,
said, look here,
look,
I'll tell you my exact words. I said, look, this is no excuse, but I was drunk and I was pissed off and I was tired of being, called all these names for months by these people. Yeah, I got baited and I totally, hooked the bait and gave them what they wanted, but I didn't direct those terms towards anyone. Okay? There
Yeah,
was
it's
there
good
was
to start
no there was no
someone.
racist
Well,
intentions in saying what I said at all.
yeah,
Okay?
it's more
It
of a
was
fear, like,
pure
oh,
yeah, it was pure just unadulterated drunken anger from what I was dealing with.
yeah, I've been there.
And immediately afterwards, literally only a few moments later, I went in the nation chat and I apologized for what I said. I said, those who know me know that I'm not a racist, but I hate those who, advocate social justice whilst also perpetuating violence in the same breath just as much as I hate racists. Like, that's what I said. So essentially my idea is like, we went to war against fascism, socialism, Nazis, communism, right?
Yeah,
We went to war against all of that, but we didn't go to war against racism. What we did was we abolished it by the means of the outcome of a war over economics. That's
yep,
history.
yeah. That's exactly what happened.
Hmm. Now, if you think about it and you want to take it like this, okay, sure, America chose to, accept racism, but to destroy everything else I just mentioned: communism,
But
socialism, fascism.
all that stuff comes like you want to really look into it. It all goes
Yeah,
down to fucking
but here's
bones.
why.
Like,
Here's
for
why they
example,
chose.
like
Here's why they
for
chose to accept that. Here's why, Barra. Because the fact is, racism comes from what I originally just said at the very beginning of this: ignorance and fear of the unknown. Okay? You can educate these people with wisdom, with knowledge, with experience, with history, with intelligence. These are intelligent people. Not every racist is a bad person. It's not a
yeah,
good thing to be a racist, but not every racist is a non-contributing member to
yeah,
society.
it's ignorance and knowledge passed down by other ignorant people, and like it's fear that
Exactly.
they get put fear into them. Like for example, like I was gonna tell you, like if you go back to Roman history,
Hmm.
that's where it kind of main started. There, I mean, there was other
Well, it's before
civilizations
then. It's
before
before
that,
that. It goes
but
way.
like
It goes all the
with the
way back.
slavery,
It goes all the
who's
way
the
back
better
to
person? And
Egyptian
you want to
times,
go
dude.
back even more before
Yeah.
that. It's like when people started settling in groups, like
Well.
they had shit together, and then some
Hmm.
people from far away they didn't have what they had, so they can steal it. So they're like, oh,
You
we need
look
to
at it.
get
Look at it
better
like
than
this,
them.
Barar. Look at it like this.
It's all
It
about
was
that.
it was it was the fact that when they first institutionalized religion, when governments or powerful figures, i.e., kings, pharaohs, and whatever, instituted religion on top of their government policies, they then were able to gain the support of everybody, regardless of
Yep,
if they liked them or not. And here's why:
yep,
because of tolerance and acceptance and understanding that coming together leads to a better future.
yeah. We're all the same, and yeah. That's exactly what
Now,
it is. I
now
mean,
the people
it's
that put that
more.
stuff out there, yeah, they were thinking of themselves. Yeah, they weren't trying to help people, but at the same
They did
time,
kind of help,
they brought things that were designed to make people capitulate,
like
but they were good things that turned out to be very good in the years
yeah,
that came later.
yep. I mean, I was raised Catholic, but I don't like right now. Like I told you, I'm 30, 32 years old, and like right now, as of now, like I don't go to church. I don't believe in the church. I still believe I'm a Christian Catholic, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I believe in God, and I see the Bible as a tool to learn, like how to live a good life, a productive life. Like it's knowledge that can help you if you need it, and it's good for you. Be a good person.
Well,
But
hold
like the
on.
whole church
Let me
system
let
and
me
stuff,
pause you
I
right
don't.
there. Let me pause you right there. I love what you're saying, Bar. I really do, um, and I totally agree. I could totally have a religious conversation with you, like, and we could both delve into some deeper stuff here. And I myself am a non-denominated Christian. I 100% believe in the Word of God, but at the same time, I understand that the Bible, which translates to the book or the holy book,
Yeah.
this thing was written by men, and we
Yep.
are not infallible. Okay,
Yeah.
so not everything in here is 100% true. Some of this is fallacy. Some of it is stories. Some of it is put together in a way for you to be able to understand and interpret this.
Right. it's a guide to life.
Yeah,
Like you said,
exactly. It's a way for you to interpret this to be able to guide yourself to a better life for you and everyone around you. 100%.
yeah.
And then it's not just Christianity. It's Muslim
Oh,
religion as well.
yeah.
It's the weird practices of the Asians, whatever they call that stuff,
There is.
theologies and stuff. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
I can't think of it, but Confucianism
There's
and stuff. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Yeah. And the Thai, they have the towels. The fact is, each one of these different practices, like Buddhism, like each one of these different practices, each one of these different religions, and I went on a huge religious discovery throughout my life to find out that each one of them have similarities. Each one of them have
yep.
very, very distinct common similarities
They
between all
all
of
want
them.
the same thing. It's all the same thing. It's just different guys
Hmm.
have to live with
And
that,
then when you look at the
all
stories,
have purpose. They all
yeah,
have the same.
yeah. And when you look at the stories, like, we have God, you have the Holy Spirit and the Son of God and the Holy, Virgin Mary. Like, these four aspects are covered in a lot of these other religions as well.
Yeah. Yep. I agree. 100%. Yeah. Yeah. That's how it is.
See, I've done my history. I've done my
Yeah.
research.
I mean, I was questioning you earlier
Mhm.
about the Civil War because we were talking about it. Like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I ended it. I'm like, dude, like, yeah, it kind of. But you told me right now, just now, like that. Because of the economics
Yeah,
and all this.
and I said
So,
that in text, but at the same time, you're not getting the same fluctuations
nope.
as you do in voice.
Yep. Yep. But I mean, on that topic, like, yeah, it kind of like put an end to it. Like, people
Well,
fought for
it
it,
didn't put
but
an
at
end
the
to it.
same
It
time,
abolished slavery, which in turn brought on segregation, which in turn brought
yep,
on racial discourse and racial division, which then brought on
yep,
the understanding of acceptance of another.
yep.
And that's how we eradicated. We haven't completely eradicated, but we've eradicated, racism and systemic racism in civil society.
Yeah, yeah. I
Like,
mean, it's like you're always gonna find bad apples everywhere. I mean,
exactly.
Hispanics. I mean, you probably don't know much about the history of Mexico.
Oh, I do actually. I dated a few
So,
Mexicans.
so I mean, like in Mexico, there's a lot of fucking racists. Like a lot. Like it's like
Mhm.
common. Like over
Well,
there, it's like
there's even Spanish dialect racists. Like,
no. I
there.
mean,
Well,
you know
I'm
the
not talking
Spanish
about just
people.
Mexico. I'm not just talking about
Spanish,
Mexico. I'm
like
talking
if
about
you
like
want
Spanish dialects, like the different Spanish countries. They can be
to.
racist with each other.
Oh yeah, yeah. If you don't speak the same language, it all comes down to culture and
Hmm.
religion and
Exactly.
uh, like similarities that you have with one another. Like even the food you eat, like that will put you in a like for me, like I'm from Jalisco and like Mexico, and
Uh-huh.
like people from other like we talk shit about other people's states, like oh he's from Michoacan or from this other place, blah blah, or Mexico City. Like
Well,
we have
I've even
like
actually heard,
like,
like, in some cases, some of these people would, like, trash on others for just having shitty plumbing. You know,
yeah,
and it's
pretty
not their
much.
fault. It's not their fault. Like,
I mean, they don't know any better. That's how they've been shown, and that's how it is. I mean, like I was gonna tell you before I forget. The Spanish people, like
uh,
to make it more like so you can see that they were racist. Like they had to categorize people like as through Spanish, and then Spanish that were like mixed with the natives, they would call something else, mestizos, and then there's like Indians and it's like people that were mixed with that. They had to make it. If you want to look it up online right now, like you can look up something like Spanish categorization for races or something or post mixture. I don't know what look it up as. Maybe if I find it, I'll post it or send it to you.
yeah, that would
But
probably be
yeah,
easier if you just
there's
send
a
it to me.
bunch of like you wouldn't even believe it. Like oh, I thought it was only one Mexican, but like there's a lot. Like they define every race like if as if it was something else. I mean, there's imagine the Aztecs, and then who knows what other tribes they try to like put them. But we're all mixed in Mexico. Like everybody's like mixed with each other. So it's like stupid to think about it. But like even in Mexico, like if you're light skinned and somebody is dark skinned, like or even short or tall, like they get discriminated. Like oh, like we're better than you. Like it's a big thing over there.
Yeah.
It's more open, and even like if you're black, I mean like you might not hear it, but like a lot of Hispanics, like they're like
Well, you see,
100% like,
just
like my
just to
mom,
get to the
like
point, I get what you're saying. To get to the
my
point
house
of
is
it,
like,
you're
oh,
talking about how, like, over in that country, you guys have a bit of a social acceptance of systemic
Yeah.
racism, whereas we have a social discourse and intolerance of systemic racism. You see the difference in
Yeah.
ideologies here.
Yeah. I mean, I've been here for what, like, that was like 20 years. Yeah, 20 years in the country.
Yeah, so
So
you
I mean,
you can totally see
so
how
I
when
know.
somebody comes over to our side, how
I
it
mean,
changes them.
my wife is American. She's a blonde, and I
Yeah,
have 3 kids. So I mean,
it,
I shit,
so you yourself can see how it changes them, how it changes their mentality and their ideology because of the fact that they are now an American.
Yep.
Yeah.
My wife, the way I met her, like she had a lot of Hispanic friends, so that's why like I got to interact with her, and I mean, I met her family. They're all different. Like they didn't know about my culture, so when I started talking to them, they're like, "Oh, what is this?" Like they got a lot of information out of me, and they start understanding. Oh, okay, that's not what I heard. Like
Well,
it's
that's
like
the thing
a lot
is
of people
people
like know
people
somebody.
love to talk about things that they don't understand, and the reason for that is because they want to gain that knowledge. Sometimes people will
Yeah,
they'll say things that they shouldn't have because they're talking about things that they don't understand. But the fact is,
yeah,
every single person has a need and a want to learn.
yep, yep. That's what it is. I mean, same. I mean, I had a. I don't have any more right now, but like before, I used to have a lot of. I used to know a lot of people that were black and Asian, and like me, just not getting to know them. Like it was, I wanted to know. It's the same thing. Like and even the white friends that I had, I'm like, oh, like this is how you do, like things like, and I can see it like, oh, we do it differently. So like I see the confrontation, like it's like that's where it can get things like it can get heated, or if you don't understand each other. But like I got lucky to be around that, and sometimes you think like, oh shit, like I heard all these bad things, like so you're kind of scared or even saying something or not doing something because you don't know how they're gonna react, and
And
it's
you
kind of
see
awkward.
that you
But like,
see how that
once
right
you get a
there
stick,
is the problem.
yeah, and
that
that's how you
is
fix
that
that.
is the
Yeah,
problem. Like, bro, this gets back to what I was talking about. Like, I was talking about how like you vilify people, you dehumanize them, right? and
yep, yep,
and what
yep,
you're doing is you're establishing a bridge to break free speech. You're establishing a way to be able to make it so that people feel uncomfortable to be around one another. And not only that, but you're perpetuating hatred. Okay, yes, a racist does perpetuate hatred in their breath of being a racist. But and I can 100% attest to this. I grew up with a grandfather, a great man who grew up in a different time, who went through World War II. Okay,
yeah,
and he was a racist. He was brought up to be a racist. Okay, some people are brought up to be
yep,
racist. That is not their fault. And at the end of the day, it is up to them what they do with it. And what my grandfather chose to do
right.
with it was to keep
Yeah,
it behind closed doors as he got into his older ages, and
yeah,
he didn't express it openly when he talked about something. He would say it under his breath to his family. And now
yeah,
my mother and I, we didn't like it, so that's why he started to cut back on it a lot over his years until he died. And God rest his soul. Till this day, I respect him, and I wish I could have asked him more to learn more about him and the history that he lived. But
yeah.
I don't have that ability. I will just say that you
Yeah,
know,
like the older people, they have bad experiences, and then like their
yes,
parents,
this goes back to
they
what I was saying. But
go on
not every
there.
racist is a bad person, exactly. But
Yeah,
what I'm trying to get at, and the point that I'm trying to make here is like when you teach about when you try to teach people about acceptance and understanding and loving one another versus hatred, the word doesn't get across as well or as fast, and it doesn't resonate with people as well as hatred. Yes,
yeah,
you would think, oh, acceptance, love, understanding. This resonates with everybody. Not so much as, hate and disgust and violence. You wouldn't
yeah,
believe it, but in our human nature, those things are drawn more to. That's why they do so well in
yeah,
box office movies. That's why they do so well in media. That's
yeah,
why
yeah.
when you put something on the news, like
That's
what we just saw with
they're
Floyd,
used for, yeah.
yeah, what we just
I
saw
mean,
with
the
Floyd,
whole thing
that
that's
that
happening
was,
right now in the country,
that
like
that
they,
was disgusting. And
they,
I'll tell you now, bro, I God rest Floyd's soul. Like, I can't believe that happened to that man, and that was disgusting. That was absolutely atrocious.
I mean, you wouldn't believe it, but I mean, I've been yeah, I've been arrested. I guess a few
Oh,
times.
I've been
Yeah,
arrested quite a few
in
times.
my
I've
younger
I've I've been
years.
discriminated against for being a young white male with a very, fancy car. Oh, you a drug dealer? No, I'm not a
Yeah,
drug dealer. I
yeah,
worked for this. Like, bro, I know and I've seen it. And like I was saying in chat before, I don't know if you were seeing it but before you got in, like I was talking about how like, yeah, Alex, like, would you
my
say that
my
to
cousin.
somebody? Would you say that to somebody's face? I was like, yeah, I have. I have.
Yeah,
I beat, and he came after me and attacked me. I beat his ass. He came back at
right.
me, to jump me in the middle of the night in this apartment complex with his family, his cousins and friends, and I beat all
Yeah,
five of them. Am I a pussy? No. But I'm not a racist either because I was there to buy him. I didn't get the finish. I didn't say that, but that's how it started.
yeah.
He's like, you know what? Prove to me
But I
you're
mean,
prove to me
you
you're not
get
a
it.
racist.
That
Just
wasn't the right way to
no,
approach
no,
it.
no. But what he said was, prove to me you're not a racist. Say it just like you would if you were one of us. And I was like, all right. And I did. And then boom, right into the face. That's when he hit me. And I was like, oh, what? Like, you gave me the open opportunity.
Yeah.
Bitch, what?
I mean, but I mean, like, see that goes back to like, um, when people are telling you something like, "Oh, you're this, you're that," and you like, it's like, and when you allow it, like, it's like you give them full control of your life, pretty much. Like they're controlling you, they're
Well,
manipulating
that's
you.
true. That's
You
true.
probably
But
don't
at the
feel
same time, I could tell you right now, at the same time, you can turn those types of situations against that other person. Yeah, you dare me to do something? Oh, you want to call me a pussy and bait me into doing something? How about this? I call your fucking bluff. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, yeah,
And that's called flipping the script. You know what I'm saying?
yeah. I know all about that. I mean, I mean, like once I start like understanding and people are telling me something, I'm like, wait, hold on, like before, because they're getting to me and I feel that somebody's getting to me. I'm like, wait, let me think this more rational. I'm like, all
Yeah,
right,
and I'll
so
tell you
what's the
now.
whole point of this?
Mhm.
What we're talking about? I'm like, and then I get to my conclusion. I'm like, why am I even being controlled like this? I feel like control. I'm like, you know what? That's not even me. Like I don't. I mean, that's probably where you get
No,
my,
yeah,
and then
where
you
you're
got
coming
around.
from and what you're saying, I totally
That's
understand.
that's
And
where
let
you
me
gave
tell
me
you,
that side because I'm like,
mm,
I'm saying something, and then all of a sudden I'm like, oh, like flipping it, like I'm like switching my story. I'm like, but I mean, it's just like I kind of got to the point where like, okay, where is this going? What was this about? And then I'm like thinking about it, and I'm like, I realize I'm like,
yeah,
okay, this is wrong. So I'm like, okay, yeah, you're right. Okay, I'm listening. You understand? Like I'm more rational about it after the fact. But
after the fact,
I mean,
exactly, and that's right there. That's perfectly fine. Blowing up real quick, getting it out there, and then coming back afterwards. If you can come back afterwards and be able to work things out, that's perfectly fine. And in fact, I've made some of my best friendships after we beat the living crap out of each other. You know, like and have like the worst arguments and didn't talk to each other for a while, and then afterwards we came back together. We were the best of friends because of the fact that we knew where we drew the line. We knew
right,
where our boundaries were with each other, and like we knew what we were capable of. Now we can
right.
fully
You
trust
have
that
to know
person.
yourself who you are.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Now you can fully trust that person because they've seen you at your worst. You've seen them at their worst. And their
yeah,
best. Now, like, bro, what you're getting at and what you're saying, I totally understand, and I try my best every day to practice that. The problem here, and with me, it's no excuse, but I have ADHD. With that is a bit of depression and
yeah.
anger issues, and it can sometimes coincide and co-diagnose with bipolar. My father has bipolar. I'm not saying
Yeah.
I do, but I have not been diagnosed
Because
for it.
I
But
mean,
the fact of the
when
matter is this: I
you
do
name
have outbursts, but I can bring myself back like that.
right. I mean, a lot of it
And
too is like
and wait, wait, wait,
you
wait. I just want to
feel
say
out
this. I just wanted to say this, bro. Like, just one last thing. Like, getting
there.
back to Floyd thing. Like, like I just said, I can blow up and be red as hell and pull myself back like that. What that officer did to Floyd, I would never have found myself in that situation if I was in his position.
Right.
Okay, okay. Look, this is what I've heard. The guy passed out after 2 minutes. That's under, the normal, like that's above the normal amount of time that somebody can go without breathing. By the way, The best of swimmers can do it, about that a little bit more. 4 minutes is the highest that somebody's held their breath. 4 minutes of some odd seconds. This guy, he passed out in 2 minutes, and the cop continued to kneel on him for 8 minutes and 49 seconds. I'm sorry, but I was in middle school. I held somebody up by the throat, off of his feet, and as soon as he gagged, I let him go, and that was literally in 25 seconds. No, it was like 28. Either way, the fact is, somewhere between 25 and 30 seconds. But the fact of the matter is, as a child, I knew better. I knew that if I wanted to incapacitate somebody, yes, getting their windpipe was the best way to do it to keep them from hurting me. However, I knew when to let go so that they were not hurt. You know? How is an officer of the law not trained in that?
Yeah, like, it's the same, like, he was angry and he was mad that, like,
they can even state fear. They can even state fear. Oh, there was stuff going on. Fear. The fact, whatever was intoxication to the system doesn't matter. Fact is, we saw a guy kill another guy, surrounded by his friends, and only the guy who killed the guy was charged with a crime. Whatever happened to guilty by association? Isn't that the same thing that the police practice on us? Now, this is my problem with everything. Okay, as you go higher and higher and up in the food chain, when it comes to police, to public worker, to politician, to rich entrepreneur, this is what I found out. The more money you have, the more pull you have with people, right? The more things you can get away with. I'm sorry, but if I was in charge, I would hold those people at the higher positions of power to a higher standard. That if they did something wrong, they would immediately lose their job. They would immediately lose everything. Somebody would replace them immediately. And they would live life as a private citizen so that they can understand what they did wrong. Come back into the public the public face when the people want to vote you back in. And this is why, including all the way down to our police force, this is why. Because you lead by example.
Yep.
You don't let the people...
That'd be the perfect world right there.
You don't let the people at the top of the food chain off with heinous crimes and then charge the people at the bottom with the most crimes you could possibly put on somebody for the simplest of smallest crimes. That's not right. Somebody going to jail for possession of marijuana... Somebody going to prison for possession of marijuana for upwards of 20 years. That's almost a fucking... that's almost a life sentence to somebody who killed somebody. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, that is really fucked up. They really fix something about that.
And not only that, but we see it every day in our judicial system. We see it every day in our judicial system where pedophiles are allowed to walk free in less than a year.
Yeah, that is fucked up. It's like, okay, you're okay to do it again.
Yeah.
That's the whole problem with it. But then again, these people are elected. The ones that are doing all these laws and, signing all the legislations and everything, it's the ones that people are voting into. But see, like, that's what people say.
Well, it's a concerted effort. It's a concerted effort. It's both the people that vote for them continuously year after year and the people that, are in power. We've watched these people for 30, 40 years now, and they've continued to do the same thing. They've lied to our faces and did something completely different. And then they've completely changed their story, presidential election after presidential election. Since George W. Bush was in office, every Democrat has called a Republican who was a candidate for president, a racist. That is a fact.
I used to believe more in the socialism, like democratic, like ways, like, help the people that are in need and, this and that. But then now that I'm getting older, I'm like, wait, like, help the people that need it. Yes, I agree. But like people that at the same time, if you keep helping them like that, like they're not gonna grow from it. They're gonna stay the same.
You hit the nail on the head right there. You really did. Yo, bro, this is what I wanted to say today. I didn't get to say this in Nation Chat, but I wanted to say this, so I'll say it with you right now. Bro, using fascist tactics to get socialist agendas across, and you people all advocating for it don't know your history. Okay, I understand now the importance of war, how atrocious it can be, It shows people the atrocities of men and what we're capable of. Not only that, but these people that are advocating for these types of standards have no idea of the history, have never seen what it did to people, and don't even understand that it comes from governments that wanted to. Well, yeah, it's ignorance, but it comes from governments that wanted to have their people dependent on them. It wasn't to help them out. It wasn't to, get them ahead in life. Like I said, it wasn't to help them out. It wasn't to get them ahead in life. It was to get them to be dependent on the government.
Yeah, yeah.
It was, and that's what people need to understand.
You, like you're like livestock, like that's exactly what it is. You're a fucking.
And there's a great quote. There's a great quote from a great leader. I can't remember his name, but if you looked at this quote up, you would find his name right away. He said, or she said, I don't know, that socialism works great until you run out of other people's money.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Well, that's why I get it. Like I told you, like when I was younger, I was like, okay, yeah, like I'll take all the help I need. Like it's good, you get a head start, with things you want to do and everything, education or like maybe start a business or something. But it only works if people are like that. But like if they keep giving it to you, like it doesn't work, So like I get it. Like so, what's the other? What is this country? I can't remember right now. Like, what is this country based on?
The Democratic Republic Society of.
No, like how we built, how people get to the reason why America.
Capitalism.
Yeah, capitalism. Exactly. If that wasn't that, like people will not be able to have opportunities, like to grow and be better. So I mean, it's a good thing, and that's why, like, if you have a communist or socialism or fascism, and people start doing like that's the difference between it. Like here, you can be better. You have an opportunity where you depend on the government and they're telling you what to do, what you can earn or whatever. Like that doesn't work out. It's like, what the fuck is the point of life if you can't, Like,
yeah. Now, bro, let me say right now, like, fucking, it's crazy. Like, we could go back to where we were talking about the Civil War, right? And this is something that most people don't seem to, like, understand. And this is true history for you, and it's really sad to say this. When Lincoln came into power, he did not have the overall majority in his favor. And he was essentially going against his house in a lot of ways to get things crossed, because they were not passing his legislation. And when the war happened, it sent shockwaves not through just our country but through the world, and like everybody was watching. And since then, our country has had a magnifying glass over itself from every other country. They want to know what we do next, like, and then what they don't realize is that at that time, we have Lincoln, who was voted in as a Democratic Republican. Okay, this was when the party was one. It was one party. And he himself considered himself more of a Republican than a Democrat. And because of the Civil War and everything that happened afterwards, the next year in the next presidential election, it split and became the Republican and Democrat Party. Two different parties. It became two different parties, and the duopoly began. And the founder of the Democratic Party said these famous words, and they are quoted in our history books. I'll have those N-words voting Democrat for the next 100 years. And by gone it, he was right. We have Biden today saying, if you don't know who to vote for between myself and Trump, then you aren't black. It's the same words. It's just twisted around.
Yeah.
It's 100 years later too.
I don't know about this election, bro, but yeah, like it's either Trump is like, I already told you about Trump, like straightforward everything, and he gets a lot of attention, like get a lot of people mad, but he is doing some things to make it better, but he's fighting against all these people that want to keep it the same fucking thing. But like the same thing that they've been doing, like, is that the same shit that happened to Obama? Like, he wanted to do a lot of things. Like, I remember that. Like, he was trying to pass a lot of things, do the right things to make it better. But like, he was pretty much getting like cock-blocked by everybody. They wouldn't let him do nothing.
Yep. And that's where, like, you want to delve into like conspiracy theories and shit. We don't need to. But the fact is, that's why this is a fact. That's why he started to, go back to all those other countries and start you know, capitulating, showing, you know, appeasement, apologizing for our past, and, you know, giving them large sums of money. Yeah, it wasn't good for us, but the fact is he was gaining support across the national stage.
Yeah, yeah. I
Like,
mean,
like he was a smart person.
so
I'll give him that. And I voted for him, and I voted for Trump. I voted for Obama on the second term, and I voted for
yeah,
Trump on the first term. I didn't. I wasn't able to vote for Obama on the first term. I don't believe I was old enough. Either way, the
yeah.
fact is, like, I full on support the right person for the right for the position to be able to bring our countries
But
into the
right
right.
now, I don't even know if Biden, like, I mean, just because
Have you
of
seen the
things.
gaffes? Have you seen his gaffes?
No, I haven't really looked it up, but
Bro,
like, I
bro,
mean,
bro, bro, hold on, hold on, hold on.
yeah.
I got some videos for you. I got some videos for you. Just to make liven it up a little bit because we've been talking for like almost an hour now.
Oh shit,
well,
I gotta go to bed. I gotta work tomorrow.
well then
All right,
let's
go
finish
ahead.
it up with some funny ass videos then. I got you. Okay, so I'm gonna tag you
All
in
right, let's separate. Let me know. What do you think?
hmm?
What is it about?
His fucking gaffs. It's literally his gaffs. Hold on. Here you go. All right, you see that channel?
Where you posted it?
You should have gotten a ping in this Discord that brought you to a channel. You see a red ping on the videos channel below?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I was like, where is it at? I'm so
All right, you got it now? All right, so if you scroll up, I posted 4 videos about these gaffes about Biden, but we're gonna watch the funny one. We're gonna watch. No! Don't start one. Don't start one. We're gonna watch the funny one. Scroll all the way up to the very first video I posted about Biden. It's
yeah.
if
That's
normal
the one.
people talk like Joe Biden. You're gonna love
Yeah,
this.
that's when I was starting, but all right, hold on.
Hey, Benny, I want to come to the pool this weekend.
That turn.
Hold on, wait. I can hear it on your end, dude.
Turn blonde in the sun, and the kids used to come up and reach in the pool and rub my leg down.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Benny, do you think I should get my master's degree?
Poor kids are just as bright and just as talented as white kids.
Hey, Benny, I want to come to the pool this weekend.
I got hairy legs that turn turn blonde in the sun, and the kids used to come up and reach in the pool and rub my leg down, so it was straight, and then watch the hair come back up again. They'd look at it. So I learned about roaches. I learned about kids jumping on my lap,
Like
and I've loved kids
I
jumping
don't
on
know,
my
like
lap.
not like a
Benny,
moron,
please
but
get
like
the hell out
I
of
don't
my
know the way
office.
he's like he's kind of slow. I don't know.
Well, the thing is, you can look up videos, right? You can look up
Yeah.
videos of Biden like 20 years ago, 30 years ago. The Biden we see today is not the same Biden 20, 30 years ago. The Biden who was in the White House was not that same Biden. Like this guy, you know, if it's free to talk about somebody's stents in their hearts or somebody's, you know, age, it's free to talk about his mental stability.
Right. Yeah. He does.
The leg thing alone, though, I watched the video on these other ones. Like, if you scroll down, you can take a look at it another time. I watched the
Yeah.
video. He's literally in front of people with a bunch of, you know, black kids all around him. And he's, like, literally lifting up his leg, describing this while he's on the podium. And I'm like, what the fuck?
How old is this guy?
Like, what the fuck?
I mean, how old is he? I haven't looked him up.
Let's find out. Let's look it up.
Not important, but he looks pretty old. I mean, maybe he's already like,
How
Like-
old is Joe Biden? Joe Biden is 77 years old. Okay, let's have a nice little interesting. How old is our oldest president? Okay, 70 years. Trump.
what?
Yep, our oldest president is Trump
73?
at 70. And the youngest president is John F. Kennedy at 43. So
Yeah, he was pretty young.
so now we have Biden here, who's older than Donald Trump, gonna run against him.
Yeah,
I'm curious about this just because. Oh, Hillary Clinton's 72 years, so she's like younger than Trump by like a year.
maybe.
Okay. Either way, yeah,
Oh,
this is the guy
I
that's
think
running for president.
I mean, if you put it between, like, I know this the answer. You put it between Biden and Trump. Like, I mean, like I said, most people don't like him because of the way he treats other. You know, like he doesn't really like. He gets fucking business done. Like he doesn't care about the fucking people crying and
Yeah,
like
he's a very brash businessman, and like I was talking to somebody else about this one time. I think it was earlier today. I said to them, "Listen, like every single one of us on this planet, we conform and we feed, and we are consumed by one of the 70 sins or the antithesis of it. The fact of the matter is, which one of it is? With Trump."
Yeah.
With Trump, I believe it may be anger, wrath. I think he feeds off it. I think he finds it hilariously funny when people get angry with him. I myself, there is actually a disorder for it. I'm not, I'm not diagnosed with it, but it's a disorder where people do get off on, the anger. They actually feel a sense of euphoria. They get a little bit high from it. Maybe even horny. The fact is, this is an actual mental disorder. Now, does it render somebody incapable of doing their job? No, by any means, no. It just makes them a bit more of a, a risk factor.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
not only that, but it makes them also a bit more brash. And if they have themselves in control, like I believe Donald Trump does, like I have myself under control, you have a few outbursts here and there, but that's about it. The man's still going to make the right decision at the end of the day. And
You get the shit done.
exactly, and he's gonna make a decision that benefits the most people, not the few at the top, but the most people.
He might get some things to benefit himself, but I mean, it's like the whole point.
But
Like,
that's it.
like,
That's just talk about CYA. That's CYA. That's cover.
Recent rates. If it doesn't benefit you in any way, like
Yeah,
you
no.
get-
But
nobody-
that's CYA. That's covering your own assets, not assets. Covering your own assets, making sure that you can be able to help not only yourself but also those around you, which are in the same field, which are your competitors, and at the same time, other people within the same bracket as you. That's totally understandable. That's how you get votes. But at the same
That's
time, it's not
do, like,
permanent
people-
measures. These are temporary tax measures. That's the
Yeah.
difference. That's what people don't seem to understand. And that's what Trump is trying to establish, these temporary things.
Yeah, every person does something for a reason. Like
Hmm.
somebody that does it for a reason is like, it's like, why are you doing it?
Yeah. Like when you think about some of the things that Obama did, like, with the Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, banking system that he set up with mortgages and whatnot, right? The whole bailout system, you start to run the numbers. He talks about how, like, oh yeah, this is going to help the banking market and the mortgage market if you keep it going for the next 10 years. Same with Obamacare. Keep that going for the next 10 years. And you're sitting there like, wait a second. These numbers don't add up, bro. Like, you're telling me to keep this going for the next 10 years and our economy will even out? How? That would mean that we would have to have a GDP rate of over 5.0 and we barely have one of 3. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? And then, like, when Trump started measuring in these, like, temporary measures, you started to realize how temporary measures can bring immediate change. That helps the instant gratification of people. But that immediate change can not just trickle down, but trickle up, and snowball is a better term for it, snowball into something even bigger and better for all of us that goes further beyond into the future. So long as temporary measures are continue to put in place that lead through a line graph that is in a upwards projection. Make sense?
Yeah, he understands business. That's what it is. Economics. I mean, that's what you do in economics. Like,
He understands profits too. And one thing I've always found out, one thing that's been told to me time and time again, because I've owned 3 companies in my life. I've been on unemployment. I've been homeless.
yeah,
I did very well for myself in life, and then I failed. But one thing led to another thing. One failure led to another good thing, and then another failure led to another good thing. And what somebody once told me, and to this day I believe it to be true, those who fail more than anybody else are the ones who succeed the most or the best at the end of the day, because those are the ones that never give up. Those are the ones who learn from every single failure and continue to improve and innovate until they finally got one of those freaking darts to stick to the dartboard.
Yep. I mean, like I get that 100%. I mean, if you don't like, I made a lot of mistakes in my life, and like I fail a lot of times. But then that's the things that bring me up. Like I'm like, okay, I know I learn from it, and I'm like, okay, I know where not to make the mistake, and I'm like, it sucks when it's happening to you, but that makes you be better, become better. Like every time, like you get up from that, and then you think you go back. I mean, like, what's it like? Uh, I mean, I'm gonna tell you a little bit myself. I'm a truck driver, right? So I got into a big accident, like back in March last year, and that led me to lose my license for like 2 months. In August, July, 2 months. I don't remember the month, but it was around that time, and that put me in a big because I lost my license. It was suspended for 2 months because of too many tickets. You know, I got two serious tickets. So it was one when I first started, and then one that with the accident, they ended up putting it on me. Anyway, but after that happened, like I was rock bottom. Like I couldn't drive. That's how I make my living, and I had to take a job that downgraded me, and I had all these bills coming up. I mean, I'm a owner operator, so I have bigger bills and more responsibility. So that put me in a big hole where I had to make up for all those 2 months, and it didn't take me until like March to break even and be okay. And then this whole fucking thing happened with the corona, and it's like I stayed afloat, and even right now, like the job is fucked up. You know, like I can't. It's really messed up. So I'm not making as much, but I'm keeping afloat still because of the stimulus package and taxes. You know, I got some income reimbursement income tax, so that kind of helped me to stay okay. But right now, like it's kind of getting better. But like that's what happens. I mean, and I had goals that I wanted to accomplish before that. I mean, I wanted to.
Well, you still
I already
can.
paid out one
You
truck.
still can accomplish those
Already
goals.
paid out the truck that I'm driving right now. The other one's just sitting because I need to do some repairs. But like that's the things that keep setting me down, and I'm like, my whole goal is to have a fleet. You know, like work on that. But like all these things keep happening, and I'm like, okay, like right now I do what I can, but like once the right time and the opportunity presents itself, like that's when I'm gonna move up and
Bro,
get ahead.
Bro, let me tell you right now.
That's
Like
things
I started my
up, you know?
I started my landscaping and tree cutting companies around the Obama years, and when the market crashed is when I crashed. And one thing
Yeah.
that a competitor said to me, you know, which kind of pissed me off, but you know, you got to take some of those licks where you get them. He said to me like,
Yeah.
adversity makes men out of boys. I was
Yeah.
literally half his age doing the same job he was, making twice as much money as him, and my company failed. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, I that's the risk you take. I mean, I've been taking loans like before even too, like you stay afloat too, like, and those are the risks that I'm still paying for it
Hmm.
now. I mean, I have I took a $10,000 loan just to keep my shit going, and I paid it off right away because I had the money, and
Yeah.
then I got another like I had to take another loan because things were bad, and then I'm like, okay, it's either that to keep afloat until things get better and make sure I pay the bills and I don't just
See,
fail.
that's
You
one
know,
thing that
like
I
don't
didn't
drop
do.
till the
That's
end.
one thing I didn't do. I didn't take out loans. Unless I had the money to match it right up front, and I paid back my loans within the year, so I didn't pay any what's the word for it, interest, capital,
Yeah,
whatever you want to call it. But the fact is, I realized like where that was helping my credit out, it didn't help me get past a score of 750. Had I got
yeah,
past the score of 750, I'd be eligible for a lot more things beyond just the mortgage, but also tens of thousands of dollars of business loans and such like that. You know, and when I looked at Trump and understood what a
Get it?
history of good credit does, because
Yeah,
I had been studying this guy since I was a kid. You know, when the
yeah,
rappers were talking about I want to be rich like Trump, I was a kid growing up listening to Eminem and being like, you know what? I want to be rich like him too. Like my original goal was I want to find love, have family, get a nice house. Then I heard these things. I was like, but if I achieve those, I'd like a little more. I'd like to keep on going forward and progressing to get higher. That totally is understandable. That's a successful mentality. That's what that's what you need in order to be a good leader. But to be a great leader, you also need to know how to delegate positions to other people and be able to also trust them. You have to gain their trust. It's about working with people like what we're doing now.
Yeah, but to be a great leader, before you have to be a good follower.
Exactly, 100%. Yes, 100%. And that's actually one of the things that I said to you when you and I were, both co-rating. I was like, if you want to be a good leader, you got to be a good follower, and you aren't following. You don't remember that? Yeah.
I was kind of like, okay, I wasn't taking you serious.
Well, I was being a bit unhinged at that time. Let's be real here. But the fact of the matter is, as you've seen, with all of my raids, even the ones I've always successfully got it done with before 9 o'clock and no later than 9:20, so that we could be able to make that housey.
Yeah. I know you do really good. I mean, it's just you're always gonna get like the dumbasses here and there. But like I told you before, like just ignore them. Like if you to them, like it's like.
Well, you seen things were perfectly fine as long as I either ignored or immediately got rid of them. Because as long as I continued to ignore them, all they were doing was chirping in Nation Chat.
Yeah.
And that was it. And Crown Sword, he even saw it. Like as soon as I had kicked him and others from you saw it in, I don't know if you saw it in Nation, but I apologized to them. And oh yeah, I just joined right back. I figured it was an accident because I used to co-raid with him too. I was about to give him leader and I accidentally kicked him. I was like, I'm sitting there like, well, fuck, I hit the wrong one. Fuck it, I'll just get rid of all. Get rid of this guy, that guy over there. Now we got rid of all the disruptions. Crown Sword joins back. I didn't see that, and I just continued with the raid and just continued to talk shit in Nation. I was pissed and I was getting shit done and I didn't give a fuck. And the entire raid was so competent. Like they were so competent. They got shit done. They got coordinated. When I got distracted, they were like, "Yo, Takecha, we get over here at CR." I'm like, "Oh fuck, I'm at the wrong spot." And then you all were able to continue on and push on and get it done before 9 o'clock, even though I was not actually leading at that time. I was sitting there shit talking in Nation Chat, and at that point, I realized, I feel like I've done a good job. I've led these people pretty well. They seem to be able to also lead themselves.
Look at me. I started back in April or something.
Yeah, what I'm more concerned about is
I didn't really had really knowledge of it. Like when I first jumped in one of the raids back when Ace was running them for the co-raid, I didn't know what the fuck was going on. But then I picked up, base. I pretty much learned from you and Ace, showing and everybody else too. Everybody contributed. Where's the way to do it.
Exactly.
And I gained the knowledge. I'm like, okay, I know what needs to get done, right? So let's fucking do it.
You see many different aspects of leadership. You see all these different aspects of leadership, how they get their different agendas across, but they all get the same accomplishing goals, and that was what was important. And you picked up on it, you learned, and when I sat back and saw that day, I realized right then and there, every one of you guys, do you know how to lead yourselves? You could all make your own fucking guilds right now if you wanted to, if we had enough people in the server. But the fact is,
I just do it because I don't want the responsibility of it. Right now,
the fact is, some people are comfortable where they're at, and they're comfortable contributing and helping where they can, and they don't want anything more than that, and that's perfectly fine.
I'll step up. If one of the times I believe you didn't get on, and there was no raid, nobody was putting it on, and you're the one that kind of initiates it. So that's good that you showing that kind of leadership. So I see nothing. I'm like, all right, let's make our own raid,
and that's exactly how you do it. That's exactly how you do it.
Be like, hey, Crown Sword, come be my core raid. Let's lead this shit. Let's get it done. That's needs to be,
and look, even though I wasn't there, Barra, I was there still.
I heard. I know you probably heard.
No, not just heard. I get reports from people. I run on alts. Even if I'm not there, I could still be there.
Right.
The fact is, I'm not always, putting myself out there. Sometimes I'm sitting back and listening. You know,
Yeah.
I don't. And these people that talk about, oh, he has a fragile ego, blah blah blah, this, that, and the other. Like Hobo just came out of nowhere with that. I'm like, huh? Who the fuck are you? You know, like I'm just
Yeah.
sitting like, okay, yeah, I have a fragile ego.
I
Bye. Like I just kicked him right away.
Even when you guys fucking started like, well, not you, but like your guys started purping me. I'm like, I want to
Oh,
do
that
something together. Let's do something.
that was just straight up. You
Like,
got on our boat without asking. Like
Huh?
you got on our boat without asking, and I said, "What the fuck is
Right,
Barra?" This is exactly what happened. I said, "What the fuck is Barra doing on the boat? Why are none of you guys purpling him?" And the next thing you know, they purpled you.
I mean, like, I'm like, okay, let's see what's going on. You know, I'm fucking bored. I need some excitement. Let's see what the fuck he's doing. Something. Let me join him. You know.
Yeah.
I mean, I did the raid, but you fucking kicked me out. So I'm like, okay. So I kind of felt like, okay, let me see what the fuck.
Well, we were just doing a guild thing, and like, you know, there's an old saying from back when we used to sail on the seas, you know, before we had all these engine boats and shit, and it was, you don't board another person's boat without asking.
I mean, but I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, I had kind of a little bit of fun, like.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we
like,
went back and forth. Actually, because of how much fun we were having, that I started to stream that night, and we were recording, and like, well, shit, we were beating them just a minute ago. Well, as soon as you start the stream, we're losing. Fuck it. We still had fun.
You did kind of fucked it up by not going at it. I mean, we're gonna do it, you guys. Because I told Frontier, like I posted on Guild, like, oh, I'm getting fucking purple, like, but this fucking but the Kensho, and they're like, oh, where you at? I'm over here trying to do because we always do it, but they were, I don't know what they were doing. And then they're like, oh, let's do that one, and then we'll come and see what's up. So everybody just kind of jump in, and everybody liked the excitement, you know, the purpling and, you know, whatever it was. I mean, I had a reason.
I sat back as Green, just sitting there reporting each fucking blood stain, just like, I'm gonna get achievements.
Yeah, right.
That was my, like, if you remember, I did not purple once. I don't purple.
I saw. You should have joined the fun.
Oh, I was still fighting back when people were purple, and you know, your guys were, you know, starting to overwhelm us. But then I started to get in, you know. But at that point, it was too late, you know.
I mean, we were trying to do something else, but I mean, in the end, I mean, if we did some of those things, like, it'll be a little more fun. Because I mean, we don't really get a lot of interaction. The red, like,
yeah,
you know, they're fucking. They never come, you know, like on a fair. That would have been a fair thing. I mean, you got people that are not the, you know, like, you know, crazy gear score, whatever. We're kind of like in the same kind of level, you know.
Yeah, that's
So,
the thing. Like we got,
really,
and if you want to be able to beat these people with crazy ass gear score, like the Reds and Purples or Pirates or whatever, what you have to do is like, you have to gather a number. Like we have to build ourselves together. We have the numbers. We don't have the gear score, but if we overwhelm them in numbers, you know, you can do something.
Yep.
One person at 10K gear score is worth 5 people at 4K gear score. That's understandable. But you double those numbers, you have 10 people at 4K gear score. They can overwhelm that 10K gear score.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, they can only focus on one person at a time, and then while all the other ones do the same thing. It's
Well,
like the same.
This
I mean,
is
that's why
including
like,
AOEs. This is including AOEs.
not like this is not like World of Warcraft. You can fucking go in and get a bunch of them and then start killing. Like those monsters will hit you, like kill you right away if you get more than 4. You know, 3, 4, or 5. Like,
well, yeah, because they continue to hit you hard and they've hit you fast.
Yeah, it's the same with PvP. Like, you can focus on only one, you can't focus on 5, so the other ones can continue doing damage, and eventually you're gonna die if you know, because you only won against 5 or 10, whatever.
Yeah. So like that's really what we have to do, and that's if you've been paying attention to the things that I say in Nation Chat. Like
But see, those kind of confrontations, it made me fucking want to be like, okay, let me invest all my gold that I'm earning on my gear score. I mean, right now.
Well, that's what you have to do. Like, you literally have to remember that the way to get ahead in this game is that you have to accumulate enough gold to be able to progress your gear score a little bit every day, and on top of that, still have enough money to be able to play around with afterwards and make the money for the next day every day.
Yeah. That's what I'm doing right now. I mean, right now, like I said, I'm back to work. I'm not and I'm really supposed to go to sleep already. But
Yeah.
but like you haven't been seeing me in the race the past couple of days because I don't get done until like today I got done early, like around 7:40. But by then the race was done, I believe. So I didn't even. I just focused on trying to get some gold to make gold.
Yep. And that's essentially
Man,
what you need. You need gold to make gold in this game. You need to continue to progress every day. That's just the name of the game. You should get some sleep though. Like it's probably
yeah,
late.
yeah, that down because if I don't sleep,
Yeah,
my
yeah.
job
Well,
is serious.
anyway, Barra, dude, I do want to say though before you go, thank you for coming in and talking to me like this, bro. Like I appreciate that, and I respect the fact, or I respect you for that.
No problem, man. Like I mean, it's nice that you're not all the way ignorant as you sound, and you know when you're talking. Like that's why it's better to talk in person. Yeah, you're pretty knowledgeable about what you're saying.
Yeah,
It,
and I'm open to dialogue.
conversation will
Like,
get the best of you, and sometimes, but
yeah,
I
but
mean, you're human.
and at the end of the day,
Yeah,
I'm open to dialogue, and you see, like, you see that in Nation, like every single time. All you have is these people screaming obscenities and insulting words, and this discriminating thing and that, blah blah blah, and all they can do is lob insults. That's it. Like,
yeah,
and
yeah,
I'm sitting there hitting them with facts, with knowledge, with their own actions, showing them a mirror of what they've been doing, and they're like, "Well, you're a racist. You're a bigot." I'm like, "Is that all you got?" It's the same thing the Democrats are saying about Trump. Oh wait, and I started to connect the dots, and I started to go through my server, and I realized that a lot of these
yeah,
people, at the very beginning of the day when I first started playing, like it was essentially I saw these people getting ostracized. I stood up for them.
mhm,
I made raids for them. I said that you're not going to kick people out of your raids and purple them and keep them out of getting their content just because you don't like them. We're all in the same faction, and I'm trying to get us to understand that we need to work together in order to beat the Reds and especially the Pirates because they're further ahead than both of us.
oh yeah,
And
way
and
further.
and we at that time when I was doing that, you know, Valix and them, they were working with the Pirates. Like they sold us out. As far as I know.
What the Alex in Silax?
Dude, yeah, he ran Zealots. And now apparently
Zealots?
Jace has a control of his account. And Zealots.
Oh
So
wow,
so here's the funny thing. You start to really connect the dots and then you're like, wait a second. All the people that were vetted as heroes, that were quote, you know, good to be hero or, okayed or vetted to be hero, were vetted by people that worked with pirates in the past, work with pirates now. They continue to still have friendships with them.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
and they're trying to build some sort of an alliance with the Reds against the Pirates. I don't know.
Like, if you want to clarify, like, cause I seen this shit, cause I joined Omni, right? Like, the raid, sometimes they do a lot of Oviso, and all that, on the seas.
Well,
So, like,
how
we
about
go out there,
how
and
about I delve deeper into that another day so that you can get some sleep?
yeah. But like, I mean, I just want to be like real quick, like,
Hmm.
with that. Like, I seen some help, like not help from the pirates, but there's like more of a law of the jungle. Like, you let the lion eat, and then you get the rest. That's kind of the thing.
That's
Like,
essentially what it was. And dude, do
you
you
try to
want to
fight
feed
them,
off of somebody
and then
else's scraps?
yeah.
Like,
So I
straight
mean,
up, at the end of the day, I don't
yeah,
want to feed off of somebody else's scraps. I want to go get my own fucking game. Fuck you.
yeah, but like then you don't get nothing done. Like that's what I
Well,
seen
that's
a
not
lot of.
true. That's not true. If
Yeah,
you
but that's
if have you ever
I
heard of have you ever heard of
uh,
the seal or not seal? Yeah, the seal like mating ritual thing, right? It was covered in Futurama. Like, okay, big guy covers all the women. You have to fight him in order to get his women. He usually beats the shit out of you. You die. Okay, but if you're sneaky, sneaky snake, you can still get what you need.
like look, a vessel gets you like 120 gold for each pack, right?
Yeah.
And the labor, which it's kind of like a lot, but it's kind of
It's
worth it.
kind of a lot. Why don't you say the exact amount?
Huh?
The exact amount per abyssal pack.
It's 120, no?
120 gold for 120
Oh.
labor.
For 100 and what?
You make 120 gold for 120 labor.
Oh, I don't remember the labor. Right? 175, I think. Plus,
So you
like,
look at that. You're spending more labor per gold. How does that transition to profit?
Yeah, but
Have you
to
ever
when
took a
you're
look?
starting out,
Wait.
when you start out and you don't have no farms or anything,
That's
right?
that's fine. That's fine. Have you ever taken a look at the auction house?
Yeah, I mean,
Have
I
you
do a lot of.
have you ever taken a look at how flipping markets work?
Yeah, I mean, I've done it.
Market manipulation,
And that,
flipping
that
markets,
hurts. But
crashing
that hurts,
markets. No, it doesn't.
but that
If
hurts
you
the
It,
action house, though.
I
Hits
knew
the
that's
market.
what you were going. I knew what you were going to say. It hurts the economy. No, it doesn't. Flipping markets, crashing markets, bringing markets up. Constantly fucking with the auction house. That's how people get ahead in life. That's how people get ahead in this game. You
Yeah,
need
but
to learn how
that,
to
that's
work with the
more,
auction
that's more like
house.
if you do it right, yes, right.
Yeah,
But if you get some fucking guy that is just like buying everything out and then just fucking putting it like not even worth it what it was, he's only making like a little bit of it
but
instead of
that's
making.
you buy that. You buy all of that, right? You buy all of that product with the gold that you have, and then double it up and resell it. Like the thing is, this is how you make money in arcades,
There's some points, right? Some
bro.
point.
I'm gonna give you this biggest tip in the world. You ready?
Ah,
Okay, this is how you make money in arcades. You have to do your labor/silver calculation 100% of the time, all the time. And if the labor exceeds, over, let's say, 40 silver per labor point, it ain't worth it, dude.
yeah.
I mean, no,
Yeah,
sorry.
but
If it exceeds, if it's below, my bad. I'm so stupid. The fact is, if it's below 40 silver per labor point, it's not worth it, dude. You got to remember that, private sales and the auction house are where the real money makers are. You don't make money from trading packs. That's what chumps do. You don't make money from owning land. You really don't. You actually lose money from owning land when you take into consideration the labor costs for taxes. The fact is, what you gain money from is how you work the auction house, how you work the speakeasy, how you work that trade market, and how you work your product to sell it to other people so that it costs you least labor to get it off. And the auction house used to cost one labor to withdraw your money. It doesn't anymore. That's a huge bonus. That means you can make money with no labor.
yeah, but they do charge you gold, though.
Yes, they charge you gold, but you can still make money with money by flipping markets, like I said, manipulating markets, crashing other ones, and working on the trade chat with private sales. But strictly just if you're looking at the auction house alone, you can make money with money for no labor.
Yeah, I mean, I did try that. I mean, somebody that's more professional into that, like, yeah, I can see it get it done. But like, you also got to think about like
You
most of the
should
people
have met
that
my
like,
friend Noxie. You really should have met my friend Gorgeous Noxie. Like when she was working with the guild, she and I is sitting there, money hand over fist in the auction house, literally having little competitions with each other on who can make the most money. And the one day I was like, you know what? I'm gonna show her up, and I'm gonna like impress her and make her work hard for this. And she was like, okay, what you got? And I was like, I made 10,000 gold in 5 days, honey. What you got?
make you what?
What?
How much you make?
How much did I make? How much did she make?
Oh, you said 10 her?
I said to her, I made 10,000 gold in 5 days. How and
Oh, shit.
like that, and she was like, okay, wow, okay. I thought I was making money. Like she's sitting there making hundreds, maybe thousands of gold here and there.
Yeah.
And then she's like, wait, you made 10,000 in 5 days? Like not like that. She didn't say it like that, but you get what I'm saying. Like,
I mean, I know it could be done. I mean, you'll have to have a lot of time into putting everything down in your mind, or if
you have to invest properly. You have to have a lot of money. You have to invest properly, and you have to know how markets shift.
Yep.
You need to know supply and demand as well. If you don't
Yep.
know supply and
That's
demand,
that's what I do with what I do. Like
Oh.
if I want to make it into something, like I look at the market, what's selling, what is this, and
yep.
then
What you have to remember this above everything else that I just said. Okay, the one last thing you got to remember is regulation. Do you know that the general merchant sells hereafter zones? If the general merchant sells hereafter zones, and hereafter zones cost X amount of, it's just one.
25
It's
silver.
well, they cost one onyx stabilizer to make 10 of them. So then you have to remember that if you're going to sell Onyx Stabilizer individually, it has to be worth, but it can't be too high, because if it exceeds the amount of cost for the auction house to sell the Hereafter Stones higher than the general merchant, no one's going to buy that Hereafter Stone. No one's going to buy that fucking Onyx.
I do look at the graphs whenever I even do what you're saying. Like I do go into the auction house and look at the products, like what's being sold, and I look up, okay, the market line, how it's going. I'm like, okay, so I see that this thing's been going like that, and then when I see something that's like going really low, because some jackass just posted it, like, I mean, you can manipulate product too. Like if you want to put one in there, something like, and lower it all the way down and see if somebody, because most people just be like, okay, this is what it's worth, boom, post it. They don't even look at how much it's really worth. So like I cap a lot of those like auction house products, and I buy them out. I'm like, buy them out, or even bid on them, and I get things for like 1 gold or even silver. You know, like
when you get something that's worth hundreds of gold, like 250 gold for like 50 silver, that's when you're starting to make some real money. You know what I'm saying? That's when you're really getting into the money. That, like, you got to remember, some of these people, they don't realize that these bids are going on like that, and they don't catch them. And some people, they will catch them, and they'll be like, "Oh, I need to buy out my own product and buy it back," you know, before somebody else gets it. But you're just starting on the precipice, and it's good that you know about the graph system. Very good that you know about that. But this, like, Noxie and I
bought my aqua house for like a gold or something. Yeah. I mean, aqua fund.
No, those aren't really worth that much anyway. But
I mean, it is worth something, but like 1 gold, and because he listed it, I bid it on it like last minute.
Yeah, you got a good win right there. That's for sure.
Yeah.
But what I was getting at,
a wagon farm like for the same kind of price, because somebody put it on like different price, which is not a lot of gold, but usually, you know, it is kind of. I mean, I resold it like for what the regular price it was. It was like 200 gold, and it sold. You know, it took a couple days, but
sometimes you got to be patient and let things sit there. But what I was getting at was, like, you know, there's those graphs, there's those markets. They tell you how things are going, but like I was trying to say, Noxie and I, what we did was beyond that. Once you're getting on the precipice, beyond that is like, you know, after experience in playing this game, what the worth of that product is based on its labor cost, based on its rarity. You know, you've looked at the RNG tables, you know the loot tables, you know this, you know exactly what your chances are in getting that, and you're like, man, that shit is overpriced or underpriced, and you know it right away when you look at it.
You know what people are selling it like on the table, you know, like posting it, you know, all that.
Yeah, and like when you go into a transaction, you know exactly what that thing is worth. If somebody's trying to ask for too much of it, you're like, okay, and there's nothing on the market. After, you know, that sale or whatever canceled, you're like, all right, here, boom, that's the actual price. Boom, it sells like that.
Yep.
That's what you should put it at.
Like, it really, you can make a lot of gold. Like, you've proven it, you know. You know that.
Well, my gear score is a testament to it. Like, everyone's complaining, oh, it's a Kensho, like, where's your gear score? When are you gonna get to 10K? When are you gonna get to 10K? I was like, guys, I'm working on something right now. And then you came over when we first met, and you saw it. Like, when I had banned on me from the raids, you came over to talk to me, and you're like, you saw all of my land. Like, like, you saw the private, you know, looms. You saw my mansion. You saw that I had owned basically half of an entire freaking housing department to myself. And I told you, I had owned this entire housing department to myself, or place to myself, on Legacy and Fresh Start. I'm not working towards it now, but this was what I was working on before my gear. And at that point, I was already over 10K. You're like, if you had been playing since the very beginning, you'd be like, well, dang, he just went up thousands of gear score in a matter of weeks as soon as he stopped worrying about his land.
Right, yeah, and that's what I kind of been focusing. I mean, like, see, like, so I get all your what you're saying. I'm just trying to make you understand, or I'm gonna try to make you understand right now. Like, since I don't have a lot of time, like, all I'm trying to do is like make at least like 5 or even 1,000 in a day or something, like produce something like with the labor I have, because I don't really get to. You want to
know the best way to do that, Dad? You could fish and you could rob other reds.
I don't have the time for that though.
You don't need the time for that. You only need 2 hours to play the game.
Yeah, if there's people to rob or do.
Yeah, well,
things
the
with-
the robbing part will take a little bit longer. Yeah, that takes a little bit longer. But the fishing part, literally 2 to 4 hours, depending on how many lures you want to use, and like you can allot yourself that time. You can get on every 2 days to have 5,000 labor plus with your if you keep your labor recharges on hand. Like you can end up having walking like you can end up using about 5,000 plus labor every 2 days if you do it right on just fishing, and you're gonna walk home with 500 to 1,000 gold every day just from doing that.
I mean, what I'm doing right now, like, you probably won't agree. I do the bracers. I was doing it some points before, but like
I used to
that's
do
not-
braziers.
but
Yeah.
that's where I'm at right now.
But what are you doing? Are you doing it for the points or are you doing it for the logs?
I'm doing it for the logs now because
Good, smart boy.
because-
There you
yeah,
go.
because it went down. Like that's how I made most of my money, like before. And you know, fool,
Hmm.
that motherfucker killed it.
Who?
Sifu.
Seafood. No, I don't know them.
Oh, you don't know him?
No.
He's in he's the one that posts a lot of time, like he's doing dragon essences now. Like he puts it, like he's selling them. But that motherfucker, like that's what I was doing, and then I was doing it with him together, and he fucked up the market. I mean, those some points were selling for like I can't remember right now, but like I think it was like 20 plus gold something,
Hmm.
and he's the one that brought him down, and then made it like he started buying all the product. Like he tried to control the market, like how you were talking, but he didn't do it right. He started fucking down pricing it down, and then it got to a point. And you probably I don't know if you kept up with if you even looked it up or anything, but the price went like to the point that nobody's buying it. You know, nobody's buying nothing. Like it's 0,000. Like if you look it up, if you're online right now and you look up the some points and look out how they're selling, it's like garbage.
I thought you were talking about the logs.
Well, I'm doing that now because the other ones are not selling.
Oh,
I mean,
some points. Okay.
Yeah, some points. Yeah, the logs.
Well, that's what you call a saturated market. You know, there's like markets can crash for many reasons. It could be because somebody manipulates it, like what your friend did, or not only do they manipulate, but they saturate the market. What he failed to do was to hold back some product.
Yep, that's what he's not doing. I mean, right now, like I told you, he's doing the dragon essence, and he has he had, I don't know, he still does, but he has like 500 plus, but he's trying to sell it all at once. He's trying to make that quick money instead of like selling little by little, like at a high price.
Some points are selling for 15.5 right now.
Yeah, but they're not selling. Like look at the days. Like I mean, I saw you're gonna see one of them. I saw my 70 for like 12 gold because
I see one for 42 hours, and then the two that could have been for 6 hours, and then the 9-hour one, which was probably a 12-hour.
You see the one for 70? Like this was like 3 days ago or 4.
No.
Well, there was one, and I had 70 on me, and from before, because I stopped doing them. I'm like, fuck this shit. Like I'm not making nothing, wasting my labor.
Yeah.
So I posted them and just to get rid of it before I could get like.
You want to make some serious money? Look at star points. Woof.
Oh, star points, yeah, but they don't. I did make some of them. They're like like 70 or something, 50. I don't know.
60,
they're really nice.
60 to 70.
Yeah.
And here's
Yeah, I saw a few that I had. Yeah, I had a bunch of them. Well, like 12, and I sold them. I made some money for that. But like when you look
moon
at
points are selling lower than red, so that should be right. That's right.
Yeah. So I mean, but then again, what do you use it for? Like you use it to do the weapon upgrade and the accessory regrade score, whatever.
They're all used for regrade scrolls.
Yeah, so those are the ones that I kind of man because people are trying to upgrade their thing. You also got to think about like where people are at with their gear, trying to upgrade it and what they're doing. Like what I focus on a lot when I started on what I was needing. That's when I focus on the demand. Like when I first started, I needed to build ships, materials here, wood, whatever. So I started on that because I knew there was a high demand on that. I needed it, so I started producing it. I'm like, well, I'm producing it. I might as well sell it,
Yeah.
So that's how I started making my gold from there, and then I just went based on that. Like I even did the engine, high power engine. I started doing the widget, whatever ingots, and like all the stuff that like the opaque, whatever they call.
Apaki.
Like
I pronounce them apaki polish, but I know I'm butchering it.
yeah, so I did all that when I first started, and right now I'm to the point like, okay, like I'm just doing the flaming logs because I just moved all my farms to Golden Ruins, so it's like a shorter trip. I used to have them in Cinder, which was not a very smart. It took too long to do it, so I just moved them, and I'm just like doing it like here and there. It takes me like 30 minutes to do the whole thing, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Like grab them, bring them back, and I do it by myself. That's why it takes so long. If it was with people, it would be shorter. But it doesn't require a lot of time. Get it done quick, and then that's it. You know, I make some like I make like five for sure, like maybe 1,000 when I sell the product, and it just only takes 8 hours, you know, to get it done.
Yeah.
I only do it once a day because I don't have a lot of time, so it just works out perfect. You know,
There you
I
go.
could probably, if I was really into it, I could probably do, you know, if I was playing like all the time, I could probably do like 3 times a day, 2 times a day, get the same product out, and like I'll probably be making more. But then, you know, like this kind of works for me. Like I told you, like 500, 1,000, that's enough to upgrade my gear with provisions and
Yeah.
just labor wise and like chill out. And then
Hey,
for now,
dude, are you East Coast, West Coast, or Central?
I'm central. I live in Illinois.
All right, so
But,
it's like
But
midnight for you then.
I'm a truck driver right now. Well, right now I am in Wisconsin, but like the other day I was in New Jersey, Philadelphia.
Hey,
Maryland.
NJ, that's where I'm at.
Yeah, you did mention it.
Yeah, should have
But
stopped by.
like I'm moving all around, you know, like I'm moving all around all the time, so I don't really have a time zone.
Mhm.
But
Well,
right now,
but right now you're in Central, so it's what,
yeah,
midnight for you?
huh?
Is it midnight for you?
Yeah, midnight. Yeah.
Well, then,
So I don't have to do the loading till 8 in the morning. So I still gonna get my 8 hours sleep.
well, 7 at this point. You got to be up at 8 or probably earlier.
Yeah, I'll probably take a nap afterwards. I mean, it'll take a little time until they give me well, they still haven't got me right.
Hmm.
I should. But yeah, that's the thing about it too. Like right now, like that's the reason why I can't get into the semi-pro. I mean, I could stop and play, but then again, like it kind of affects my work. So I'm like,
You know what you should do? You know what you should do?
huh?
Okay, like straight up, bro. If you just get like a laptop and like mount that bitch in your truck cab, just like the cops do their laptops, right? And you just AFK stuff. You AFK
Yeah.
like you're at a red light, you do some stuff, you go. You know?
That'll be fucked up. They catch me, I'll be in big trouble. No more with the devices while I'm driving. And then it's a serious job, you know. If I mean, I'm driving when I'm loaded, like.
Dude,
almost
I've had a moving company before, not like, semi truck related, but I straight up would modify shit like that in mine and anybody else's. I'd be like, no.
Yeah.
Like, no. You have a cell phone, I will call you. I don't need you to have a laptop.
Yeah.
Mine was all fancy, but all of theirs was just like, you know.
Like I got my laptop. I mean, I didn't used to have it before. I mean, but I got it because like a lot of the times, like sometimes I'm just sitting for loads, or
Yeah.
sometimes I don't have nothing going on, and instead of getting pissed off at the people that they're not doing their job, unloading me or doing whatever, like I was like, man, I'm gonna get a laptop and just fucking chill out back here, and then whenever they're ready for me, they're ready for me, and
There you
I don't
go.
get angry, I don't get stressed.
There
know,
you
I just
go. That's just how it is. Like you do what you need to do, right? You don't do too much. You know, I was told to work smarter, not harder, and that if you work too hard, they're gonna abuse you.
Oh yeah, I mean, and you also when you work too hard and you're not in 100%, like you make mistakes, and that's one of the things I learned.
Oh yeah. Whoa, that's absolutely true, and like that's in every field, regardless of like quantum physics to fucking fast food. Like,
Yep. And that's why I don't fuck around. I mean, that's why I told you I made a lot of mistakes before, you know.
Yeah, when I'm feeling under the weather, right? When I'm feeling under the weather, when I'm not feeling 100%, and I'm looking at a job and I'm like, yeah, I could do that. Am I going to? Nowadays, I'm like, no. But when I was younger, I was like, fuck it. You know, I had to be able to
Yeah.
make that money.
I mean, before, like my younger years. I mean, I'm not that old, but like when I was younger, like I used to like every weekend like go out and to the bars and fucking with my
Ah, man.
family and
We
like
all go
it
through
was
that phase. We all go through that party phase. You know,
it
it's
was just
funny. I did
I
that.
just
I did that
I,
around
I,
high school. Like I didn't do that throughout college. I did it around high school. Like,
yeah,
and as soon as I
same.
got out of high school, that's when I was like, you know, I've done what you guys are doing now. I'm focusing on my work. You know.
Yeah, but I understand this. I'm Mexican, and if you know anything about Mexicans, like we party all the time.
Oh, I do. I
Always
do.
having
Like I said, I've dated a few Mexicans. Like I know, and I'm just like I
it's like
don't.
we find a excuse to party.
Look. I can totally keep up with the best when it comes to partying day after day and whatnot. But I don't like that style of life. I can totally be that upbeat. Let's go to the city every night type of guy, but I'm very comfortable in the suburbs, and I would be pretty comfortable in the country so long as I'm at least 20 minutes from a hospital or into a city, because I don't want to be 30 minutes away. Gosh forbid it takes them an hour to get me there and back, or sorry,
Yeah,
get to me and then get back. Like 40 minutes. Okay, you know what? I may die, but at least it's not an hour or longer.
right. Yeah, that's where you start learning. Like, yeah, it's really worth it. Like I tell you, like I like my sleep now, so I just be like, and I also I'm pretty strong minded, so I mean like even like if it's I mean I done this before where I don't even fucking sleep and then I go to work.
Yeah, I
I'm
stay up
up,
still to this day. I stay up days at a time. It's just like it's a
yeah.
thing. It's a thing.
So it's like a normal thing. Like I can handle it, but then like when you gotta pay for it and you're feeling like shit the rest of the week, that's when you're like, yeah, I'm not doing that again. You know, and that's why I keep reminding me I can do it. I'm able
And I'll tell
to.
you now, an ideal schedule for me has always been throughout the night into the morning. I'm asleep in the afternoon. You know, that's always been a good good afternoon or evening, because that's the schedule. That reason that works for me is because I am up through the night. I'm waking myself up, doing my thing, and then throughout the day I'm working, and then I party after work, and then I'm out.
Yeah, yeah,
Like that's
yeah.
what it used to be like, you know.
Yeah, that's how. I, I mean, here and there sometimes like people show up. My family show up at my house. And they're like, "Oh, let's do something," and sometimes I don't do it, but they're like, "Oh, you always don't want to do nothing." I'm like, "Fine, like I guess I'll hang out," but like I don't do it as much because I already know the fucking consequences of it. I don't want to
Yeah, but
do it, but
you can still hang out and not get fucked up if you don't want to.
yeah, but it's not even about getting fucked up. It's like now what I learned is about sleep. Like
Oh yeah, 100.
that's
percent
it.
Like,
Like
dude, I straight up like when I was so swamped with work at this time. We were like out in California. It was New Year's, right? Everybody's partying for New Year's, and I just got off the plane, and I'm like, well, fuck it. Like I gotta sleep in the middle of the fucking, I gotta sleep right here in the middle of the freaking living room. Everybody, leave me the fuck alone. Pull the blanket over. Went the fuck to sleep. You know.
yeah,
Buddy came
yeah,
over to me once in a while. I was like, "Yo, bro, wake up! What's up? Take a hit of this." Okay.
yeah. I done that before. I mean, I be so drained sometimes. So I don't do a pussy job of the trucking, like driving. I do physical job, uh, labor. I do flatbed, so it's like you get like drained. Like you have to, like I got a strap and tarp and all that kind of stuff.
Well,
Like
you're constantly
freaking,
getting in and out of the truck at every stop.
yeah, and I gotta.
You're not a semi dropping off a trailer, going to coming back and shit.
Oh, it's not. I don't open these doors like the drive-ins. I do. I got on strap, sometimes some tarp. Like so. I guess pretty physical, and by the end of the week, I'm like, and I work when right now I haven't been working that much, because of the whole fucking COVID, Corona. But before, like my usual routine was like work 6 days a week, 70 hours, whatever, like almost 70 hours the whole week, and like my regular shift, like this morning, I started at like 7 in the morning, and I was done by 8, 7 something. So it's like a 12-hour shift, and I'm not driving. Well, I did drive my 11 today, but like most of the time, it's like I work like 14 hours. Like that's like from the moment I start, like, and it doesn't get draining. Like it's just like it's like
It's just constant.
yeah.
It's
So
kind.
it's like I work a lot, and I don't really have a lot of time to do all the things that to distract me from work. So it gets tiring by the time I get home, and I only get like one day, well, 34 hours, maybe 40, whatever, Saturdays, and I just like chill out, and I don't, I feel fucking tired, like sometimes like if I fuck up and stay up because I can't sleep because I'm like, my mind is going all crazy, like I can't stop myself, so I stay really late watching videos or whatever, like, and like so I get really tired. By the time I get home, I'm like, I don't want to do shit, like I just knock the fuck out, and everybody can do whatever, but don't talk to me right now, same shit, like, and not a lot, but it happens. That's the thing. Like that's what made me like I don't really fucking do anything no more. Like go out or go to the bars or hang out too late and drink. Like it's not even about that. Like doing that kind of stuff and enjoy myself. It's just that I'm fucking drained and I'm nothing no more. Like I just want to chill out and relax.
Yeah. No, I totally get that.
And
Like,
it,
I would
and
maybe, I
that's
would
why
maybe do like something to treat myself like that, hang out with friends, whatnot, maybe once a month when I was a busy ass dude, and
yeah,
then, like, you know, it turned into okay, let's work and party, work party, work party, sleep when we can, and then
yeah,
like eventually I just got whoa, like, I you party, you go to school and party in high school, but then you just focus on work. You're drained when you do work and party, and then you're exhausted. You know,
yeah,
then
yeah,
once you start to get to like okay, I'm about to be 30. You start to get to like these ages, 30 and above. You're like, and it's
yeah.
like you're not out of breath from like the work. You're out of breath from just I'm tired, man. I feel old, man. Like I overworked my body for years.
I mean, I started doing all that since I was like 15. Like
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've been there, and even by the time I got to be, go to the bars, like I did it until like my 20. I mean, I had my first kid when I got married pretty young, like I was 19, yeah,
Man,
2008.
it was
So,
it's funny. Like we're now talking about so many other things, so much further from where we first started. You know that?
well, that's how it is, man. That's how you get to know people. You open up and accept somebody, and like if you want somebody to understand you, you gotta be like open. Like
Oh no,
you can't,
I totally,
like
yeah, I
you
totally get that. You can see I have like hundreds of people all around me in these Discord and shit. Like I get around and socialize, bro. But like when I'm playing arcades and talking to people in arcades, usually focus, game, focus, work,
yep,
focus,
yep.
some drama. Some
I,
drama happened. Oh my god, everybody, drama happened. Oh my god, everybody needs to know. All right, back to work.
why I keep playing video games. I mean, I'm old. I'm older already, like 32. But
Yeah.
like the reason I keep playing video games is that's where I grew up doing. Like, and that's where I learned a lot of my life skills. I guess say it like in a way. Like the focus, the motivation, the need to progress and become better. Like I learned all that from playing. Like I play World of Warcraft. I play all the games that maybe like competitive. Like have initiative. Like on things. I mean, I learned a lot of things from other people as well. Like that I didn't know. They show me like so like and all those things that I picked up from playing video games like with other people online. That kind of helped me like once I got to the real life and like started using the same skills like and then I started thinking like man like the game is like a fucking like a guide to life as well like if you apply the same
Well,
things
what
in the
you're
game.
talking about, not to cut you off,
Uh-huh.
but what you're talking about is something that this old community, when I was a teenager and involved in Halo and stuff and Xbox stuff, they were on PC, they were on every console. They had this huge community that spanned across the entire world, hundreds of thousands of members. They were called MEA, Murder and Evolution Army, and like they were built on the autocracy, the militaristic style of governance. And they would teach people life skills that they can utilize they can utilize in game and then utilize as well in life. They taught them different strategies and ways to be able to manipulate, or not really manipulate is a bad word, but like get people to work together, focus groups and stuff like that, and motivate people to do things. And then you could transition that into real life. And some things that like people like myself as I got older would do is like we'd test. We'd use these communities as like a focus group and like a test on a project or an idea, and see how it works. And then like if it works well or whatever, you learn from the mistakes, and then you implement that IRL and with the fail safes and stuff. Like that's what these communities online, every single game, no matter what game it is, they can provide like a lot of benefit to the children that are involved in them, to the adults that are involved in them. And if you like get involved in a good group of people and they're productive members in society, and they're in here just trying to have fun playing this game and succeed as well in the game, then you can learn a lot that you could be able to utilize to help yourself and everyone around you. This goes back to our original point. You know what I'm saying? It all comes back.
And that's how it is. That's how I see it. People used to like say like, oh, you play video games like a lot and all this stuff. Like, I gain a lot of fucking knowledge from it.
Yeah.
And, it helped me.
Well, dude, I don't, like I said, I don't mean to cut you off, but bro, it's like almost 1:30 over here. And,
okay.
And you should be getting some sleep too anyway.
Yeah.
All right, bro. This was a very, very good conversation, and I hope to have more with you.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I might ghost you, because I'm always working, but I'll be here. I'll get on and see you once I get time.
Hey,
but that's how it is.
You know where I'm at. If you need to hit me up, you can hit me up. I don't hit up people. I'm just saying, maybe we can work together, do things. I don't know. The fact is, I'm guildless and I'm free, and I don't got nothing to worry about and no one to answer to. Yeah. You didn't hear what I said in Nation?
Nah.
I said, oh my God. I said so many times, I apologize for my actions. I apologize for my words, that I do not condone racism, discrimination, or bigotry of any kind, and I am sorry. Like, I said that. And then right after that, I was like, I gave up leadership of all of my guilds to other people who will do a much better job at leading them than I ever would. Now they all have new names.
Oh, shit.
Yep.
Yeah, that's fucked up. Hopefully people start seeing for what it is. Sometimes you just gotta give people time.
Hey, bro, I'm still getting messaged by quite a few people telling me how they're still supporting me, that they're still gonna vote for me, that what I said was not that outrageous or offensive, that there are many people that feel the same way. They don't want to speak up. I've always known since the days in which I stood up to defend Horgan, I do have the silent majority vote. And if you look at Trump, right? Okay, sure, he didn't say racist terms per se, but the fact is, like, he did say some things in the past that was brought up, and he was very brash on the campaign trail. And I'm not saying I'm running a Donald Trump-esque campaign here, but what I'm saying is, he went from the Democratic Party to the Republican Party to be able to go to be president, when he finally went to run for it and he wanted to get it. And then as for me, like, I don't need to be affiliated with anybody. And if I get voted, it's because of the people's will. My platform has always been 100%. We need to put our personal differences aside and work together as a nation to be able to beat out the Reds and beat out the Pirates. Fuck everything else. If you have any problems with each other, handle it in Discord, in the DMs, PMs, whatever the fuck you want to call them. Handle it after the raid. Everything that's personal, everything you disagree with, hash it out, even in Nation Chat. I don't care. After the content is done.
Yep. Yeah. Just get the shit done, and that's it. Like, hey, let's focus on this.
Yeah. Content done. Oh, the boss just got killed. Half the raid just dropped. Oh shit, they're purpling us. That's fine. That's perfectly fine. That's our gauge at the end of the day. So long as we work together to be able to progress,
Yeah,
that's all I care about.
sometimes I used to play with my brother PUBG, and then like we play like the whole time we're trying to get shit done, and at the end like we're tired, we're done, and like one with the game, trying
Yeah.
to compete, whatever,
Yeah.
and then we start fucking around, like hey, let's start fucking doing stupid shit, like
Yeah.
you know.
But anyway,
And
we will see how this term plays out. We'll see how everything goes. The fact of the matter is, like, people will vote for who they want based on how they feel. I've never once felt that anybody needs to force or coerce votes, and we already know that a lot of these people, have a rigged voting system with alts and such like that from the pirates and such. But the fact is, we'll see how things go.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean,
It's either fascism or socialism wins, or democracy and free speech. That's how I look at it.
yeah. Well, I'll vote for you. I mean, I got like what is it, like 6 votes? So I mean, if you're in there, I'll vote for you. I mean,
I am
vote,
actually. If I look
see-
at it, I can tell you where I'm at right now. I just gotta get on the game again because it keeps going back to me because I'm AFK and not doing anything.
Yeah, I locked out a while back.
I still got to do a couple things on the odds before I get off.
Yeah, if you're on it, I'll give you my vote. I don't have no problem with that.
Yeah,
I told you before. I think like when I first started, I see you.
There it is. I'm in 12th. I'm in 12th right now.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, like I was saying, like if I see people, like the way I think about it, like okay, like I see people on the board, like I don't even know who the fuck they are, but I'm like okay, like I'm not gonna vote for other people, but like if I see people doing something and they're like right there, like why not? Give it to them. Like I don't have no problem with that. Like if I would have seen, like at the beginning, like if I would have seen you last time the elections when and voting, I would have seen you there. I would have given you the vote.
I wasn't there. I knew I didn't make it, and people were trying to say like, oh, he's just angry because he didn't get voted here last. I'm like, bro, I didn't even get to be a candidate. I didn't make enough leadership, but this time around I did.
Right.
And I had a huge explosion just before the election, and it definitely goes both ways in the bad and the good. But we'll see how things turn out. People choosing fascism and socialism over.
You gotta give the credit to the people that do the work.
Yeah, exactly. You got to give the credit to the people that do the work. But like I said, at the end of the day, we'll see if fascism and socialism prevails over freedom, democracy, freedom of speech and democracy. Like, we'll see how it works out. That's how I'm viewing it. And some people, like, for instance, in Enwi,
just remember,
not Enwi,
I'm
sorry.
gonna give you advice. One thing I'm gonna tell you, you can only change yourself and who you are, but you cannot change people's opinion. You cannot control people.
100%, 100%. I agree with that.
And if you apply it, like every time you're trying to like prove a point and make sure somebody's on your side, and they're not, and they're not together, like just let it be.
Exactly. The fact is, at the end of the day, regardless of what somebody says to your face or what they say behind your back, they still have their own personal opinion of you that you are not privy of, and you yourself, like you just said, can only worry about focusing and improving your own image and who you are, and your own values and morals and stuff like that. Like if you try to focus on changing everybody else, you're going to be overwhelmed, and it's never going to happen. The only thing you can do is sway people's opinion of you.
Yep. Yeah, that's the only. I mean, you can put yourself out there, and this is who I am. And I mean, like people are saying, like, oh, like some people are like trying to put it like, oh, give thumbs up to Barra. I'm like, no, don't give me that shit. I'm not working towards that. Like, I'm just trying to get the shit done, and I don't want to be hero. Like, I don't have the time, or I haven't invested the time. I just want to get this shit done, and a lot of the other people need it.
So long as you have 250 leadership, that's good. Like, and every thumbs up helps you get there. Like, what you want to be able to have is 250 leadership to be able to vote somebody, and that's it. Like, if you want more, then you go for more. Like you
Yeah,
don't need to
but
you
I'm
don't need to
not.
worry
I'm
about the
not.
going for the thumbs up and stuff. What you need to worry about is all the stuff that we normally do anyway. And
Yeah,
if you're more active, you're going to get more leadership than somebody else. That's it at the end of the day.
but but then like I'm not. I'm not even there. I'm not even in that mentality because I don't have time and I'm not there in the game. Like right now, I mean, like I mean, when I first, like when I was started doing race with you, I was like what, like 5 point something, uh, something like that, and I got to 6, and I stayed there for a while, and then I'm like, so I was investing in other shit, and then now I'm like 8.1. So I mean, it's getting better, but I'm not there. I'm not thinking of being in a position like that until I'm like maybe 10 or 12 or
Well,
who knows more.
like I said
Where
to you,
I'm
like
more into that way, you
like I
know?
said to you and everybody else when we were doing a reset rate, like 10K is like average now. Like look at some of the like the people that are in the top 100 are all over 12K. Like 10K is
Yeah,
average. You need to shoot higher now.
right,
But
right.
anyway,
I mean,
we should cut this because
yeah,
it
yeah.
is
I'll let you go. Yeah,
1:30. It
yeah,
is
yeah.
1:30.
All
Yeah.
right, bro. All right, you have a good night.
Yeah, you have
Like,
a great night, dude. And like I said, great conversation, and I'll talk to you later.
yeah, likewise, likewise. I'll talk to you later, bro.
Oh, and thank you again for the vote. I appreciate that, dude.
Yeah, yeah. Like I said, somebody deserves it. Why not?
Mm-hmm.
All right, you have a good night.
All right, you have a great night.
All right, thanks, bro. All right, bye.
See you. All right. Do, 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 do. Give me one moment. This is going to be a raw cut, and I'll probably snip it down into a smaller video later on. Anyway, be right back. All right, so I didn't have the camera on for this entire time because it was going to be a Discord conversation anyway. But I can go ahead and turn it on. I just gotta adjust the microphone positioning because I am. Oh, and the camera positioning. Because I was completely unprepared for this. I just kind of did it on a whim because why not? There's a lot of people that seem to have opinions of others, right? And I don't understand exactly why people want to make it such a prevalent issue to like hate on one another, but that seems to be the going trend these days. And we see that same thing all the time in regular society. I should just wait until I actually get the camera adjusted properly. But anyway, there we go. Anyway, I really don't do the close-ups usually too often because I don't think about it like that. But anyway, yeah, I understand these days that things are very complicated, very. And on top of all of it, like you have all these different people all over different walks of life that have different stories. That's totally understandable. But to sit here and perpetuate hate and violence in the name of what exactly? I don't know. Whoa. But the fact of the matter is, like, you realize that I don't I don't feel that way. Like, I don't like the way that things are currently. I don't like how people treat each other in this current day and time. I don't like violence. Sure, I'm very quick to defend myself. Sure, I'm very quick to stand up for others. But that's because of the simple fact that I want people to understand my philosophy at the end of the day. Like, I just want them to know who I am and what I believe. And that's, I'm not a pacifist by any means. Don't get it twisted. And I'm looking over just to make sure that the stream is still, well, recording is still going well, and it looks like it is. I should move myself into here. Well, nah, somewhere where people can't get to me, actually. There you are. Alright, so, fact of the matter is, like, I just want people to instill a little bit of understanding with one another and acceptance, and just to practice a little bit more patience. It really shouldn't be that hard. Like, you can be sitting there yelling at each other face to face, spitting all over each other, trying to get your point across and having differing opinions, but you don't need to be hitting each other around the head with bike locks and punching each other and all this other stuff. Like, why? Why? I just don't understand. What's your point? You're mad? Okay. Yeah, we get it. You don't need to burn down buildings to prove your point, okay? There's a proper way to do it. It's called protesting peacefully. Now, we're seeing a lot of kneeling for solidarity and, you know, walking together for solidarity with the police and, you know, actual police involving themselves in their community, you know, community peace, the policing, that's what it's called, I believe. And these people, they're going out of their way to do whatever they can to try to, you know, salvage their reputation and the reputations of their entire, you know, franchise, so to say, whatever you would call it. The fact is, these are public workers. These are people that are specifically put here to protect and serve. The police are put here to protect and serve you and I. Okay, if we need them, we ask for them. If they need to be somewhere, they need to be somewhere. If they are conducting an investigation, you need to let them conduct it. Like, and I've seen it on the news. Okay, I don't know why. And this really annoys me. I don't know why there's so many news outlets out there that are just so bent on, you know, not wanting to, what's the word for it? Report the news? Yeah. Why are there so many news stations out there that don't want to report the news? Like, okay. I totally get it. There are people out there. That love those little, like, mom and pop stores and the stories about, like, you know, it's this kid's birthday today and, you know, bus stop buddy and whatnot. I totally get it. People love this stuff. Entertainment, at the end of the day. You're trying to get views. I do the same. I'm a streamer. But the news, what it stands for, the actual acronym of the name is Northeast, West, and South. If you didn't know what your own organization stands for, it is to give you an all-encompassing view of the world. You're not supposed to give me a biased view. You're not supposed to give me a concerted view or a trimmed view. You're supposed to give me all of the news, in which I am supposed to differentiate and research upon to find the truth. Because I'm not supposed to trust you. I'm supposed to trust my own research. You're presenting the news as a platform to me and everybody else out there so that we can be able to differentiate the truth from the false, regardless of if it's fake news, regardless of if it's, propaganda, regardless of if it's, how you say, what the frick is the other thing that they do? You got so many different tactics that the media use, and I can sit here and list them all off, but it doesn't really matter. The fact is, present them all to me. Okay, you don't need to pick and parry chick and tell me what's true and what's false. I can do that through my own research. I don't need you to do that. All I need you to do is present the news to me. Don't give me a biased opinion. I don't need a biased opinion. That takes away from the news. You're now not presenting the news, you are presenting an opinion. And the news is about facts, what is really going on in the world, what people are saying about it, how they feel about it, the protests that are going on, both sides of the protest, the violent and the peaceful. I know we've been cherry picking, what is real news from fake news to put onto the TV on all of the media sites out there, regardless of if they're independent or mainstream. We all have our presentation, and we all have our, what's that word? I just said it earlier. The fact that we all have our point that we want to get across. And we want everybody to hear that point, to hear our opinion, to understand how we feel about it and how you feel about it. Okay, if you're mad, tell me. You don't need to spout all sorts of obscenities and all sorts of insults to get your point across. All you need to do is tell me. Okay? And that's for the rest of the world too. Like, we can all be sitting right here at our computers recording with mic audio or video, it doesn't matter, and getting our point across. We could be writing books, we could be doing so many other things as a way of peacefully protesting and standing up and fighting against the power, as if we were making music and other sources of media. See, that's how you fight tyranny. You have to be able to beat them at their own game. You have to be able to, throw a little bit of your own money and hard work into it. If you take the time to just understand the world for what it is, the people around you, you'll start to realize that things will be a lot more clear. And it's pretty hard to tell the fake from the real when you're doing your own research. I get that. But that's what open conversation is about. Like, you can talk to somebody else who has more knowledge on a situation and learn from them as well, especially if you aren't understanding the subject in which you're trying to research upon. And they can put it in layman's terms so you better understand it. There's no reason why people from all facets and all walks of life aren't talking with each other to be able to come to a consensus, a common goal. And it doesn't matter if they're poor or rich. Like, you can do it. It's quite possible, guys. You just gotta be willing to put in that effort. You gotta work for it. You gotta want to do it. You don't spreading hate, spreading violence, throwing bricks, which, why is that not being reported? I seen it on OAN, but not Fox, not CNN. Like, where are all these pallets of bricks in the middle of the freaking cities, on the middle of the roads? Like, where are they coming from? This is a concerted effort, and it's willful ignorance to say that nobody within the vicinity of that pallet of bricks knew where it came from, who dropped it off. Nobody asked, why are you putting a pallet of bricks there? There's no construction going on within 50 blocks. What the fuck? And how was police not notified? Oh yeah, ahead of time. You got these brick pellets up here. By the way, maybe you should try to barricade and keep the protesters away from that. How? Like, are you serious, guys? Like, sheer incompetence. That's what that is. Willful ignorance. That's what that is. Anyway, this whole recording that I'm doing right now, it just kind of like came out of the blue, and I'm going to post this on YouTube as a bit of an update for everybody on Twitch. That, hey, I am going to be shifting gears a little bit right now because I was trying my best to not get involved in all of this that's going on in the real world, to present a bit of entertainment for all of you. But at the same time, I noticed that the entertainment that you guys like to watch is me arguing with other people, or them arguing with me, and so on. So, yeah, I'm not a confrontational type of person. I mean, I am. I'm not going to back down from a fight, but I don't like that stuff, like I said, when I first turned on the camera. I do not whatsoever enjoy or like the violence and the perpetuation of violence and hatred, bigotry, discrimination of any kind. I don't like it. I don't. I really don't. It disgusts me. It really, like, I get acid reflux from some of the things that I see that's going on. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I don't lose sleep at night, okay? But as you heard when I was talking to Barra, I can stay up for days at a time because I have ADHD and I'm constantly thinking up here. And I used to write books and stuff and blah. I've gotten lazy. Not gonna lie. I've lost a lot of drive. Not gonna lie. And I can't sit here and say that, yeah, I could be doing or thinking about things differently. But everything that I've experienced in life has brought me to where I am today and made me who I am today. I don't regret anything. What I don't like is the way the world is today, the society in which we live in today, the way people treat each other today, how they're willing to go to hatred instead of love. Now, if you've been watching my streams from the very get-go, you would know that I started with my philosophy. I would say it every day in my streams. That I personally believe that if we just learn to love and accept one another, this world will become a much better and greater place for us all. That there's too much hate, there's too much bigotry, there's too much people that are consumed with their sins. There are 7 deadly sins, okay? You may not be religious, that's fine. But there is 7 deadly sins and the antithesis of it. They are a part of our human nature, and some of us are consumed with envy, lust. I myself, I'm consumed with wrath. Like, I don't get it. If you just learn how to control yourself and take the time, like Barra said, to think about your words and think about your actions before you do them, you may be able to convey a better message to somebody who's not really understanding you too well. If you just give it a little bit more effort and just go a little bit further to get your point across peacefully in a democratic type of conversation where you can have differing opinions. You don't have to agree with each other, but you can still achieve the same goals. You could want to implement these same type of measures in different ways, but you can compromise to be able to move forward. That's It's about compromising. It's about, you know, actual politics where you're actually working with one another to talk things out, to come to a consensus, to come to an understanding and an agreement to move forward in this direction, not backwards in that direction. And what it really comes down to, like I've said before, I believe it, that there is a sheer large number of ignorance in this world. That ignorance is not bliss. Okay, not when it's violent. Ignorance is very bliss when it's peaceful and cute and all that stuff. But it's not bliss when it's violent. Okay? See, I'm taking my stream in a different direction. I'm going to be talking a little bit about politics and religion and stuff. Things that are considered taboo with us gamer streamers. But the fact of the matter is, these things need to be put out there. That people need to understand that everyone has a right to free speech. The second that we stop anyone from saying anything is the day that we give away our freedom of speech and our democracy as we know it. Now, the president, Donald Trump, I love that man. I truly do love that man, and I've been following that man since I was a child. Like, I may not ever become something like that, but I aspired to be somebody like that. Like, that was my idol growing up. Sure, all of you were like, oh gosh, oh, Trump, he's the worst. Dude, he knows how to get shit done. He knows how to make money. He knows how to, make progress in a large fashion. Not just in one small concerted effort for a few select people, but for many people all over in different avenues, in different professions. Okay? Everybody's got good sides and bad sides, okay? But the fact of the matter is, what the moral makeup of somebody is what makes them who they are. If they have good morals and they're looking out for you, me, in the better interest of everybody, then that's a good thing. That's a real good thing. When you look at the past, when you look at the history, when you look at what they've said about him, before he got elected, we'll be in World War III if we let this man become president. Oh, I'm afraid to see this guy have the nuclear button at his fingertips. So what is he going to do with it? Blah, blah, blah. Are we in World War III, guys? In fact, if I remember correctly, he's the guy that just talked to Kim Jong-un over in North Korea. And he somehow was able to broker an agreement with somebody that we have had absolutely no actual conversations with, no real talks and brings to the table type of thing. Oh, we're going to go with the policy that they don't exist. Out of sight, out of mind. We may have lost that war, but if we ignore the fact that they have a leader and they have any type of military power, they don't exist. Right? No, that's not how things work. You guys have watched how regimes have been made, how warlords have come to power through terroristic acts and such, through war, through conflict. Okay? You've implemented these same types of measures in the history. Talking about the governments out there. All of you. You don't think we weren't watching? You don't think some of us can actually read a fucking book outside of what you give us in the libraries and the schools, the ones that you want us to read? Why would you ban a book in the country of freedom of speech? Oh, it caused my kid to kill somebody. No. your kid read a book and then he killed somebody. You don't blame the book for your kid's actions. Who does that? Now, I know that's my opinion. It's not a popular one. The fact is, like, you gotta be kidding me. We are in control of our own actions, whether we're a child or an adult. I knew this when I was a child growing up with anger issues. I know it now as an adult. Sure, there's different laws and different trials for children and adults, but the fact is, you can instill an understanding of right and wrong. You can. You can instill an understanding of right and wrong. You really can. Now, my only thing is, how do you do it? Well, with a proper society, for instance, one that actually is educated and knows their history, for instance, one that isn't, continually subjected to understanding only one side of the argument and throwing around their opinions at other people and not trying to figure out a way to solve things or to resolve things, but rather to tell everybody how they've done something wrong. That woke culture bullshit, the fuck out of here. Listen, you want to be woke? Do your research, understand your history, implement innovation to be able to keep yourself from repeating the same mistakes of your father and the other generations before him. Because if you continue on the path that you're going down now, where you don't know the other thing and then don't understand what the hell you're talking about, and thinking that, if we use fascist practices to get socialist standards and stuff across, we might be better. We might not have to pay for college and healthcare and blah. Okay. Really? Socialism works great until you run out of other people's money. That is what somebody once said. Okay? Great person. Quote them. Bad person. Quote them too. Fact is, everyone has great ideas. Some small, some big. Everyone should be given a chance to be able to strive for prosperity, for their own success, to be able to live in a land of peace in which they don't have to understand the atrocities of war and conflict, starvation. All they need to do is read about it and learn. Now, I know it's not a popular opinion again, but I also do believe that in our schools in America and across the world, that we should be teaching people how to properly arm themselves and use firearms. Yes, teach children to understand and respect firearms. Very radical. But the things that we view as radical today, as Bernie Sanders once said, could be mainstream tomorrow. Here's another radical idea. Teach religion in schools so that every child, every single one of them throughout the entire world, understands that there are many different religions in the world. Okay? There's many different practices that they do. Teach them. Maybe what kind of things they wear, how they do their practices. Oh, it's so radical. You don't want them doing religious services in schools? Okay, listen. If it's about education, you can do it in a fun way that doesn't have to be, they are Bible thumping, they are Quran thumping, they are hijab wearing Muslim. No. You can do it in a creative and fun way to be able to introduce the culture to them so that they understand it better. You don't need to fear-monger them. They're children. You can literally be their freaking parent. They don't even know you're their parent. Have their freaking, mask on of a weird-ass clown, and they can be like, he's so funny, da-da-da-da-da. And that same person can be able to put on a different clown mask that's all messed up and jagged, and because the baby and their child, who knows that that's their father behind the mask now because they watched them change it, they don't see much of a scary thing going on there. That's their dad behind it. Unless you teach them to fear it. It shouldn't be that hard. So don't teach your kids to fear things. Teach them to stand up for things. Of course, there's going to be phobias and irrational fears and things that happen over time. Like my niece, she's scared of the bumblebee because her uncle Jeremy was scared of the bumblebee. I think I have a phobia of it. I don't know. I'm not freaking whatever you know diagnosed with it. Fact is, like, hey, we can definitely come to a better understanding. Another thing that I think should be taught in schools is the Constitution. Why aren't you teaching it? Why aren't you teaching everybody about the American Constitution across the freaking world? We're the only country in the world in which we have the freedom of speech, the right to bear arms. Like, are you kidding me? We have some amazing things in there. These amendments you don't hear about everywhere in the world. This is revolutionary. And we are the bastion of freedom of speech. We are the bastion of freedom and democracy. We're the ones that put it out there to everyone that we will fight socialism, we will fight fascism, we will fight Nazis, we will fight communists wherever we see them, and we will abolish and destroy these ideologies for the sake of understanding, peace, prosperity, love, capitalism, democracy. You can pick apart some of the different things from socialism, Nazism, communism, fascism. You can pick and choose little things here and there, and toy them around and fix them up, and trim out the bad stuff and make the good stuff better for society. Yeah, you could do that. You don't need to adopt the ideology in order to do that, though. You can still be a Democrat, a Republican, a capitalist, whatever. You can still be an American and still get that legislation passed if you present it in a good way in which you actually fix the flaws. Okay, I don't care that this governor wants a freaking bridge that to be, repaired in order for him to sign the bill. Get the fuck out of here, dude. Okay, that isn't what this is about. This is about progression, okay? If you want your bridges and your streets and whatnot fixed, include that in your budget report. It shouldn't be that hard. PPE, include that in your budget report. Oh, there is unforeseen things in the future, okay? Well, have preventative measures put into your budget report as a line that could be going up and down depending on the year and what you think is going on. If you're informed, then you know that something could happen. Okay? Preventative measures also, okay, we did that after 9/11. We put in preventative measures so that people didn't terrorize and use, planes or be able to hijack them with box cutters and stuff. Okay, cool. Metal detectors, cool. Body scans, cool. Got that. Okay. Only in international airports. Got that. Cool. That's good. Private airports? No, that's not cool. That's not cool at all, dude. No. Private airports should totally be off limits to that. But the fact of the matter is, these are smaller planes that we're talking about. Now, they should have their own preventative measures put in place. But hey, you want to keep to the federal standard? Sure, give them a federal bill. Okay? Give them an actual budget report the same way you do those international ones, and hey, everyone can be able to keep on the same standard. That's what, federalism? It shouldn't be that hard now, right? Because that's something that we started on. Okay? Another thing, getting back to my point, another thing that should be taught in schools. We covered guns, we covered religion, we covered the Constitution. Why is the tax code not covered in the Constitution? What the fuck? Are you trying to get people up to fail? You're not teaching them the proper history now. You're picking and choosing what you want to teach them. Okay, you're using a political bias in different areas to get your point across. You want to take the Pledge of Allegiance out of the schools? Why? Because it had God in it? Why? The whole thing is to teach patriotism, to teach love for your country. That's what that was about. What's wrong with that? Pride and love in your country and yourself is not a bad thing. I don't know when that became a bad thing, guys. And having a little bit of religion in your life, whether you believe in it or not, again, not a bad thing, guys. I mean, same person that's doing yoga could be doing yoga with a bunch of Christian people listening to some sermon, okay? And that person's doing yoga on their own, listening to music. There's no reason why that person can't be educated on some of the things that other people do and why they do it and how they actually integrate themselves into, the community, and they help the community around them. Mosques, churches, and so on. Buddhism, like, they teach all sorts of different things and all different theologies and all different religions all over the world in which, we're supposed to help each other, accept each other, love each other, understand, practice understanding and patience. If somebody's ignorant, if they are fearful, if they are lacking of knowledge on a certain situation, then why don't you take the time to educate this person a little bit? Just a little bit of time out of your day. Be like, hey, bro, like, yeah, I get you feel that way, but do you ever, think of it a different way? Like, this person once said blah, and this happened. Present some examples to them, some differing opinions, in a peaceful way, so that they themselves can come to a better understanding of the world around them. Maybe you can turn a racist against racism and towards love, with a little bit of understanding and education. A little bit of patience goes a long way, guys. My grandfather, like I said earlier, was a racist, but he was a great man. And he had the respect to not go overboard or, outburst of any type of thing throughout his older years, out of respect for my mom and myself. What he did with grandma, and what they talked about that's on them. But they didn't go and perpetuate violence or hatred or bigotry of any type towards anyone. He was just brought up to be racist. He didn't like other people of other colors, and he didn't want to talk to them. But he also did agree that, yeah, they were capable. Yeah, a black guy made the air conditioning. They are innovators. They are just like you and I. He learned in his later years that, okay, yeah, I'm racist. I'm set in my ways. This is how I feel. But they're not all bad people. Some of them are good. Yeah, it took him his whole life to learn that, but he was also a very successful person throughout his life. He fought in World War II. He was, a part of United States steel industry for most of his life. I think he got fibromyalgia from something or other. And but the fact is, I love my Grandpa Steve. He was a racist. Still love him. He was not a bad person at all. When you guys say that racists should die, that racists have no right to live, you guys are being the most inhuman, intolerable type of people that you could ever encounter in life. You're being worse than the racism that you are trying to get rid of. You're being worse than fascists and communists and Nazis of the past. You know why? Because you're using their same tactics to get their same agendas across. It's just a different time. Do your research. Learn that Antifa or Antifascista started in Russia. Bolsheviks Russia? I'm not sure, but the fact is it was communist Russia. Okay? They're still flying the same flag today that they started with. Okay? You following me here? Cool. bam, by any means necessary. They themselves will call anybody a racist that they don't like. Okay? They don't care what the person really is or who they really are. All they want to do is turn you against them because they don't like what they say, they don't like who they are. That's it. You may read the red websites of these places and like, oh yeah, this seems all like, flowers and, fairies and smells pretty good. Yeah. Bullshit smells great when you use a little air freshener on it to cover it up. Oh, and, make sure that people don't see it. With a bunch of flowers, good words, happy sentiments. Come on now. Look, when you do your history, bleh. When you do your historic research and you actually understand your past and the truth, these things start to come out. You start to realize some of these people are not really doing what they say they're doing. They're not actually trying to make things better. They're trying to make things worse. And you're falling into it. And you're turning against your own fellow Americans. What? You're better than this, everybody. You're a lot better than this. Nobody in this world should ever advocate for taking somebody else's life. Nobody should ever advocate that that's okay. Yes, some people should advocate for violence when the time is necessary, when it's called for, when lives are on the line and you have to choose the many over the few. Okay? When other people's livelihood is on the line, when they themselves are at risk, are in danger, that is when violence is necessary for your self-defense, for your protection, for mine, for everybody. Everybody on the entire planet. Okay? You don't just let people perpetuate violence, hurt others, and attempt to kill them, and in some cases do kill them. You don't sit there and cover up for them. You don't bail them out of jail. You don't go and try to justify their actions. You condemn them. You condemn violence. You condemn any type of racism, yes. You condemn bigotry. You condemn discrimination. You have to condemn radical ideologies as well. You know why? Because your father did. Your grandfather did. Every other person in America in the past had their differing opinions on the war. But the results we all agreed with. Civil War, slavery abolished. World War I and World War II, a better understanding of everybody. Culture actually breaking boundaries, similar to when Genghis Khan did the same thing over in China. Yeah, it's comparable. Yeah. Who would have thought, right? Fact is, innovation, art, music, movies, media, all sorts of culture spread across the entire world because of these wars. And for years, for many, many years, the leaders of the different nations came together and made a lot of good decisions after World War II because they themselves had learned of the mistakes of the past and what got them there. They got themselves out of it, even though some of them didn't start it. A lot of them didn't live Some of them grew into it. But the fact is, we stood together in solidarity. We stood together in arms. And we fought back tyranny by any means necessary. And we established a new rule of law for generations to come. And a lot of really good decisions, a lot of really good measures were taken and put into place. And, different organizations were established that actually helped the world. Like the UN and the World Health Organization. But all of these good efforts that were put together by all of the leaders all over the world for all of this time were being undermined by others in the shadows that were using their private equity loans, their private money, to be able to put certain people in power over the years, over the generations, vetting people, training them, teaching them the ways to manipulate others, to hide their true colors, to be a sheep, even though they're a wolf, to play on your insecurities, to play on your fears, to sit here and try to sympathize with you by talking like you, like they are from the street, even though they've never once dealt with any type of actual atrocities in their life, even though they've never once actually know what real atrocities are like in this world. Sure, a lot of people have bad lives. Sure, a lot of people have good lives. Every single person's life could be overshadowed by somebody else's life. That somebody else could have a way worse life than you could ever imagine. And a way better life than you could ever imagine. It goes both ways. It's what you do with it. It's what matters. 2 hours, almost 40 minutes. I think it's time to cut it. Hey, yeah. Takencha's stream is going to have a new twist on it. I'm going to put a little bit more of my personal opinion on things, put into, my opinion on politics, my opinion on religion, talks with people like that, like what with Barra just happened. This is the direction that I want to do. I want to get a point across. I want to get my philosophy across. I want to get everyone that listens to understand that there is a better way, that we know a better way, that we can implement a better way. All you have to do is come to the table so we can talk. You don't need to throw bricks through windows. You don't need to shoot people. You don't need to stab people. You don't need to hit them with bike locks to get your point across. All you need to do is come to the table. Present your opinion in a calm, collected manner, whether it be in the form of media, whether it be in the form of protesting. Just do it right. Also, on a final note, look up ballot measuring. Like, how does nobody know what ballot measures are? Are you kidding me?